The Inside Edge Network is brought to you by Fanatics. Fanatics isn't just our name, it's who we are. Loyal, passionate fans, dedicated to our favorite teams and athletes, to the sports we love. That's why we're honored to be able to offer fans the world's largest collection of official sports apparel and sports jerseys from all the leagues, teams, and players you love. We're talking NFL, Major League Baseball, NBA, National Hockey League, the NCAA. I'm a wrestling guy as well. We got WWE apparel available too. It allows us to serve fans of football, baseball, hockey, basketball, lacrosse, soccer, golf, and everything else that gets your heart pumping. Go to fanatics.com by using the QR code on your screen right now to celebrate your teams. It's right there in the corner of your screen. Get your official gear. Level up with us at fanatics.com.
Whether you're searching for a baseball autographed by your favorite World Series slugger, a signed football by an iconic Hall of Famer, or the jersey of a world-famous soccer star, you've come to the right place. Here at sportsmemorabilia.com, the web's leading source of authentic sports memorabilia, you'll find more than 500,000 authentic products from nearly every professional sports league, team, and player. Not only will you find your next prized sports possession with ease thanks to superb customer service and tremendous site experience, but you'll have the satisfaction and peace of mind that every product listed comes complete with a certificate of authenticity and is fully backed by the sportsmemorabilia.com lifetime authenticity guarantee.
Welcome to the main event here on the Inside Edge Podcasting Network. We got Eli, we got Anthony, I am Rob, and we also have the Jared Allen game. Gentlemen, Cavaliers win 104-102. Jared Allen shows up big time, 22 points, 19 boards. Honestly, makes the Raptors look like small children. Cavaliers win. On to Detroit. See you Tuesday, game 1 in the Motor City. How are we doing, gentlemen?
Yeah, we are. I think we're doing good. I don't mean to speak for the both of us, but I'd imagine Double A's doing just as well as I am. Jared Allen finally showed up. The Cavs played with intensity in the second half. For most of that first quarter, and even in the second quarter at times they looked lost, and they figured it out in the second half. Really put the heat on, and it felt really good. And you know what? It's nice to see that the team understood the assignment. This is Game 7, defending home court. Donovan Mitchell talked about, well, hey, all you can do is defend home court. So if that's all they can do and they're going to defend home court, then, hey, we'll take the W. Now the thing is, they have to win a game on the road. We'll talk about it later, but they have to win a game on the road next round, all right? But I'm excited, Double A. I'm doing well. Jared Allen seems to be all in, a turnaround. Even in the fourth quarter, getting a little chippy. It seems like maybe he found that tough streak we were looking for.
Jared Allen today became a grown-ass man. He became a grown man tonight. I mean, we've been waiting for years to find a Jared Allen who's been able to handle business and dominate in the playoffs. The lights were too bright. For today, for this series, he put that away. He's only the second Cavs player in postseason history with 20 points, 20-plus points, and 15-plus rebounds in a Game 7 since LeBron back in 2018 against Boston. Jared Allen, I even thought in Game 6 he put in work, especially defensively. But today, complete total package from Allen on the defensive side. I mean, how many times he had critical offensive rebounds? He'll miss a free throw. The turning point of the game was in the third quarter. He missed the rebound or missed the free throw, got his own offensive rebound, puts it back in. He was an absolute beast, especially in that third quarter. And guys, Rob, I'm ecstatic. I'm happy that the Cavs were able to pull this off and dominate and beat the Bullies finally in the second half in this series.
And it's no disrespect to Evan Mobley, but I was actually, a little happy when he picked up his 5th foul in the fourth quarter and J.A. had to go back out there because, a lot has been made about Mobley and Allen functioning and coexisting. That might have been probably the key to the whole thing was Allen had to step up. Allen had to be there. There was no Mobley for the majority of that third quarter. I want to say it was like 3 or 4 minutes in. It was him and Scotty Barnes for Toronto that were both in major foul issues pretty early on. And they straight up needed JA to do that. And we saw what happens when he actually can, for whatever reason, flip the switch mentally, physically take over. You mentioned his, the big offensive rebounds he had. A couple of big steals in transition, too. There were a lot of, like, cheap buckets they were picking up, especially at the end of the third quarter, beginning of the fourth, that were just, mental miscues on Toronto. I'll even put the putback on the free throw on that deal, too, because somebody should have boxed out. But, you saw early on that Toronto didn't really have an answer for anything JA was doing. And I don't know if we would have saw it on that kind of level if Evan didn't have that fifth foul early on and had to kind of, hamstring the rotation for a second or here. But, the two guys, JA and Donovan, I know he didn't have the most efficient day from the field. I think it was 9 for 20 from the field. He was critical, especially at the tail end of the second quarter into the third quarter, with him just kind of heating up and getting that defense, getting that offense going. You saw a little bit of rhythm at the tail end of that first half, and okay, cool. And I think the thing that'll be on the front page will be Donovan diving into the third row while up by 20 at the midway through the fourth quarter of a Game 7.
Yeah, it was a lot of heart and effort by this team. That's what we've been questioning. Is the toughness, the heart and soul of this team. When they put it together, they are one of the best teams, not only in the Eastern Conference, but in the NBA. And it's just a matter of, do they really want it? Do they want to get past, the first round? Do they want to get past the second round? And tonight, today, however you want to shape it on the West Coast, I guess it'd be the afternoon game. But, they shaped it, out. They turned it together, and they got the W. I think something also that's very important is Max Strus and Sam Merrill. Last year we were talking, and when these series go 6-7 games, you're going to have to rely on your role players to come out, and play well. And they did that today. They've done that at home. You like to see them do it a little bit more on the road, and we'll see what they do against Detroit. But they did it today. Max Strus and Sam Merrill, 13 points and 12 points respectively. I mean, they put it together where the Cavs didn't have to stress when they went to that second unit. And I think that was big, too. I mean, yes, you mentioned about Donovan, Rob, and yes, not super efficient, and you still hope that turns around, because if this was the wake-up call for Jared Allen, he continues to play like this, and Donovan can clean it up and we get back to Donovan, we know the more efficient scorer, the guy who's a little bit more calm and collected, and you saw that at points during this game, but even more so, what we're used to, then I think the Cavs could be in a better position, but I don't want to get too high on this team either, though. We were very, very high on this team after 2 wins, 2-0 against Toronto. I'm excited for the W, but I'm also aware that this team does have some things that still need to clean up. Donovan needs to shoot more efficiently, and James Harden for most of the series was turnover prone. I mean, it was pretty bad. So those are things that to be aware of, but they did show the toughness tonight, and usually toughness is enough to get you over in a Game 7. So I was happy about that as well.
Well, 13 first half turnovers too is going to be talked about. I think if this game didn't end the way it did, turnovers were there, and I think that was probably the big difference. It's easy to say, well, yeah, don't turn the ball over, but you saw the offense getting a little bit more rhythm. You saw a little bit more wide, smarter decisions being made with the ball, and I think that helped things out. But yeah, Moon, I'm with you. I'm not completely there yet, but I'm happy we're moving to Detroit.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing, guys. In Double-A, we've talked about it. If this 10-man rotation can be strong enough to give the first unit some breathing room, especially in games where Donovan's still not shooting the best. James Harden, I think this is what we're going to get out of him, right? He's going to turn the ball over. He's going to shoot some shots that make you scratch your head, like, why are we shooting this shot right now in the second quarter? But at the same point in time, if Strus and Merrill are knocking down crucial threes, if Dean Wade's giving you quality minutes, I know he was in the starting lineup tonight, but if these guys are giving you quality minutes, these role players, then I think you can compete with the best in the Eastern Conference. Let's not forget, I know we'll talk about it, Boston just went down yesterday. So this Eastern Conference is as wide open as you could imagine. I know the Knicks are a team that the Cavs have struggled to get past, but I feel a lot better getting past the New York Knicks than I do the Boston Celtics. And I think That's something to be talked about as well. Can the Cavaliers string this momentum from Game 7, showing a little bit of grit, showing that Jared Allen may be back, showing that the role players can get moving? Can they go into Game 1 in Detroit and steal a W? Because, again, they're going to have to win on the road, and they did not do that in Toronto. They had a lot of trouble in Toronto, and this is a Detroit team. You know, we talked about Toronto out-muscling the Cavaliers at points in time during this series. Detroit is a much more physical team than Toronto. So I do think this is something to keep an eye on, and hopefully Jared Allen continues this toughness, and the other guys, too, going into Detroit.
Well, let's keep an eye on the entire picture, right? No one, I'll even lump in New York in this, nobody in the Eastern Conference feels good about their team right now, the ones who are left standing. And I will lump in New York in this because they're inconsistent too. So to be perfectly honest, you're looking for whoever has positive momentum going in. And here's the factor too. With the schedule in the next round, we're playing every other day. So you need your top guys. And I do commend the role players, Eli, that you talked about. The Cavs had a 9-man rotation today. And I do commend the role players. Your superstars have to be the ones who make the critical shots. And today was Jared Allen and Donovan Mitchell. And James Harden somehow got 18 points. But it was those two who got it done. You need your superstars to emerge in these games. I watched Cade Cunningham put the team on his back, put Detroit on his back. 45 points in Game 5, and in Game 6 and Game 7, they handle business. So, you know what? I'm going to be very happy about this W just because, again, nobody else feels good about their teams, and they shouldn't. But if I have Jared Allen and Donovan Mitchell connecting and finding momentum and hitting shots like they did in the second half, you can carry that into Detroit on Tuesday night. Let's effing go. Why not?
Well, the reason why Harden got 18 was he had 11 free ones. And I bring that up because, you know, again, I know he didn't have the greatest of games. I was kind of expecting him to have a little bit more of a presence. But at the same time, you know, there was that mode in the middle of the fourth quarter where the offense wasn't really clicking. It kind of seemed like it was going back to, you know, away Toronto ball here. And what kind of sustained them was J.A. getting on the line and Harden getting on the line. That 3-point shot that he had, you know, I think that was in the fourth, actually, that he was just drawing contact. He was contributing in his own way. And I'll give Harden that one on a day that, yeah, he wasn't exactly 3 for 9. It wasn't exactly, he was shooting the ball a lot anyway. But at the same time, he did what he needed to do to help out. But yeah, I mean, Detroit coming up next. We know it's Cade Cunningham et al. We'll probably get into that next segment, how this is going to work out and how this is shaping out with the Cavaliers and the rest of the playoffs. But right now, I'm kind of with AA. I don't know where this team is kind of at in the scheme of things, but I think we have 3 other teams that can say the same thing. Somehow this is the worst I felt about the Cavaliers coming out of the first round in the last 3 years, but somehow we also have the best chances of making the conference finals. So who knows? But yeah, we'll kind of
into the finals. Thank you, Boston. Thank you, Boston, for sucking last night.
Oh, thank you, Joe Mazzulla, for being an arrogant tool shed.
Oh,
yes. Oh my God.
Thank you.
Moon, yes, you look like you have a.
Yeah, no, I mean, I know we got to go to break here in a moment, but like I said, I'm not going to get fooled though into getting all the way up here though after a Game 7. I'm excited, fellas. Well, I just want to stress that
you can go up here.
No,
this is the freaking playoffs. Sometimes you win by luck. Get up there.
No,
and we're not the ones getting paid. Get up there.
AA, they have to win on the road. They have to win on the road, and they don't have the favorable odd. They did this, and I'm not. Look, don't get me wrong. I'm excited. I want to stress, I am excited, but I also am aware that they went 0-3 in Toronto this series. They have to win one. If they don't win one in Detroit next series, they are not winning that series. So I'm just aware of that as well.
If you think about it, they're 3-0. Or they're 4-0 in the United States. So as long as we stay in the lower, them and the Thunder actually are the only 2 teams in the NBA that have yet to lose a game in the United States. So I guess we can kind of go with that. But
Let it out.
yeah, I mean, hey, it's all about spin, baby. But
I feel it. I feel it.
But Moon, you are right. You are dead on right. I will be a lot more enthusiastic about, even if it isn't a clinching game, if we see this team do this on the road. Now, I understand road is a place that we've been 3 times this year already. We are well acquainted with the Pistons, with JB, with that whole operation up there through thick and through thin. So, yeah, we'll actually, we'll pause right here. We'll take a quick break. We'll get a word from our sponsors, and we will get ready to go here with segment 2. We'll get into the Cavaliers and Pistons. Game 1 will be Tuesday at 7 p.m., and it will be a streaming-only game. So it will be on the cock. And for whatever reason, we don't want to put this on absolutely broadcast TV. Well, we might get into something along that line, too, with the frustration that Cavs fans have been having for the first round anyway. But, yeah, we'll take a quick break here. Again, Cavaliers win 114-102, Game 7 at Rocket Arena. Cavs 4-0 at home, 0-3 on the road. We have concerns, but we're happy. This is the main event on the Inside Edge Network. We'll be right back.
Hey, I got something to show you guys. Take a look. It is spring. Happy spring to all of you. Take a look at what we have here for you from AlleyRoseFragrances.com. Beautiful spring scent candles here for you. Hand poured with premium fragrance and essential oils. How about this? Our coconut soy wax candles bring fresh, uplifting spring scents to your home. Made with clean, natural ingredients, They're a mindful choice for sensitive spaces and those who love effortless seasonal fragrances. You got to check it out right now. There's the Soft Bloom and the Lemon Bar candles, all healthy ingredients, all from allyrosefragrances.com. And if you're a first-time customer, use the promo code InsideEdge20. That's InsideEdge20. Get this for yourself, for your friends, family, everyone. You want a good-smelling home, allyrosefragrances.com will make it happen. Again, allyrosefragrances.com. Get the new spring candles. And when you order, if you're a first-time customer, InsideEdge20 is the promo code.
Clean energy, bold flavors, no jitters. See why people won't shut up about Dubby. Clean energy, no jitters or crash. Helps you lock in and focus over 15 absolute fire flavors to choose from. Visit Dubby.gg and use promo code InsideEdge10.
Welcome back to the Inside Edge Podcasting Network. This is the main event. Thank you for joining us on YouTube, on what are we, Twitter, the TikToks, all of this happy stuff. Thank you for spending a few minutes post-Cavaliers game with us to enjoy the afterglow of this 114-102 win. Again, this is the main event. We got Anthony Alford, Eli Moon. I am Rob Rozycki. Yes, Toronto is now in the rearview mirror. Up now, we have the Detroit Pistons. And yes, a team that we went 2-2 against in the regular season. JB's boys, much like Toronto, they're not kind of the conventional NBA archetype, shoot the three and, just outpace everybody kind of team. This is going to be Cade Cunningham. This is going to be a lot of grinded out. They don't like to shoot the three. They don't really hit the free throw all that well either. But a very curious matchup. Again, Toronto in the rearview mirror. Detroit 2 days later on Tuesday. So what are we thinking about that one, gentlemen?
Yeah, I think it's an interesting matchup because it's like a really good offense in the Cavaliers. I mean, we mentioned when the stars are on, Donovan Mitchell, James Harden, Jared Allen tonight, Evan Mobley, showed flashes during this Toronto series. It's one of the best offenses in the league. And then you have that against one of the grittier and better defenses in the league in the Detroit Pistons. As I mentioned, before we went to break, they're going to rough it up. They're going to make it gritty. They're going to get personal with the Cavaliers. A reminder, this is a division rival. Rob, as you mentioned, these teams have played each other, quite a few times this year. So this is a division rival, a team that, I remember back when LeBron was here the first time, the battles against Tajon Prince and Chauncey Billups and all those guys. And, it just reminds me of that, but it also reminds me that this series is going to be physical. It's going to be a tough series, and I think it's going to be, can the Cavs offense get around Detroit's defense more? Because the one story, and the Cavaliers have mentioned it themselves. Jalen Tyson mentioned it, I think, going into halftime tonight, in the halftime interview right before he went to the locker room about, what changed. Well, the Cavaliers started playing defense, and we got to play better defense. And that's going to be the story. Is Detroit some standout, lights-out defense, or is it going to be offense? No, I don't think so. I think they have guys that could score, led by Cade Cunningham. I think they know how to run their offense. I don't think they're this immaculate, amazing offense. I think where they're going to have their bread and butter is, can they slow down the Cavs offense? Are they going to make it ugly? 92-88 wins, 96-91 wins. It's going to get ugly under 100-point games. It's something you don't see very often in modern NBA. So I think that's the biggest storyline going in. And then, of course, Double A, we're going to get to see our good buddy JB Bickerstaff. He is in Detroit. He is rocking and rolling. And you know what I say, JB Bickerstaff is a great development coach. If you want your team to get developed and be ready for the next guy to try to take him to the title, get JB Bickerstaff in your building right now.
Every sports movie could be described in this series. Matt, you get rid of the coach who you felt couldn't get you over the hump, and now he's on the other sidelines. You gotta get
but typically in that movie, the coach that you got rid of is the good guy in the protagonist. We're playing the assholes here.
No. See, you got it all wrong, Rob. We're not the assholes here. We're not.
First of all, I can't wait to watch JB Bickerstaff cry to the officials for the next 7 games. I can't wait. That's something I do not miss whatsoever, and we're going to see that for the next 7 games. So I think from that standpoint, I think you got to be the aggressors if you're the Cavaliers early on, because Bickerstaff's going to get to the officials. So you don't want the officiating to kind of take over things across the board. The one thing that Detroit really, really did well, in Game 6, they held Orlando to 19 points in the second half.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, they're gonna play their own defense. Yeah, I mean I know it's gonna be imperative for the Cavaliers to play defense, but this is we know JB's style well here. We know what that brings, and that's going to be a grinded out kind of a game. And it's going to have. And I hate to say it, I know that he still probably has his game uniform on right now, but it's going to be on the Jared Allen to basically handle all that down low and be a presence again, and handle Jaron Duran down there and figure out a way to establish himself the way he did against Toronto, because that's going to be, I think, the way this is going to go with JB's squad. And then I know it sounds cliche, but they're going to have to hit their shots. I mean, we look at the second half of this game against Toronto compared to the first half, or even any of the away games. They had the looks, they just weren't falling. And today they enjoyed the home cooking. Hopefully we can define home as the United States and not Canada. But they're going to have to go into Detroit Game 1 and do something here. I think Game 1 is tantamount to what this series is going to be. With the Cavaliers, all these questions with this team on the road, they're going to have to establish themselves in Detroit early on and stop this narrative so they can just kind of actually just become a team again. Again, if you want to go on the what the whole LeBron James adage of a playoff series doesn't start until the away team wins a game, we're still waiting for this series to start. So they're going to have to do something on the road quickly. They can't fold up. They can't have one of these 22% from 3 nights. They can't have one of these days that Donovan and Harden both disappear. They've got to do something.
Yeah, and it's going to be very imperative that the Cavaliers do it, offensively fast, right? They're going to have to get that offense going early. Early in this series, and even tonight, at times, the offense was slow and sputtering, and it had, me worrying here at home that we were going to see a very sad post-game here on the Inside Edge Network. But luckily, we're not in that position.
Post-game.
Angry post-game, sad post-game.
It'll be angry.
Yeah, I know.
It'll be very angry.
I know.
Yeah.
But here we are
tonight. It was going to be very angry.
Here we are, though. Here we are, and we got Detroit, who gets better as the game goes on. Double, you mentioned Game 6. Orlando went 1 of 20. In the fourth quarter, they had a horrendous fourth quarter. They should have closed that game out. But I think that just speaks to, as the game goes on, Detroit starts really clamping down defensively. So I don't think there's going to be a lot of opportunities to pull off some 12, 14-point, comebacks in the third, fourth quarter. They're going to have to get going, to your point, Rob, early, because Detroit will hold them to under 100 points, at least one in this series. Look, I love the Cavs. I'm just calling it what it is. This Detroit defense is very good. There will be a game where the Cavs, if they want to win, are going to have to out-defense the Detroit Pistons. That is what it's going to come down to. It's one of the biggest storylines going into this, going into this postseason here for the Cavaliers is, can they play defense with some of these other teams? And I think this is the next test. The test against Toronto was, can you get tough enough to win? And tonight, especially late in the game, Jared Allen getting a little physical and almost getting ejected. It was getting crazy there. But that was the toughness we were looking for, at least for a moment. Now, this next series is, can you continue that toughness and can you play some freaking defense? Because when you get to whoever comes out of New York and Philly, it is going to be a well-rounded team. And we'll talk about them later on, but New York, obviously, we know the story with them. Philadelphia is a team with guys that have been there before. Not to the NBA Finals, but you have Paul George, Joel Embiid. You have guys that are shaping it together, Tyrese Maxey. So I think this series is obviously big because the Cavs need to get past their biggest kryptonite, the second round. But it could teach us a lot about this Cavaliers team going forward if they can really shape up on the defensive end.
And from a mental standpoint, I'm very curious where both Cleveland and Detroit is going to be on Tuesday night. I can't think, and my apologies for not doing the research beforehand, I can't think of two high seeds winning their first round playoff series or after going 7 games, both of them in spectacular fashion. So from a mentality standpoint, yeah, both the Cavs and the Pistons got the W. They moved on, but I do wonder where their mental psyche is going to be. What happens if something falls apart? Like what's gonna happen from there? And again, Eli, to your point about the mental block, I mean, now the next step is that second round. That's a real thing for these players. Getting past the second round, like that's a real thing. I really believe, Rob. I know the series ain't over. Depending on it doesn't. There's a game 2. No matter what, there's a game 2. There's almost a feeling of, boy, if the Cavaliers can win game 1 on Tuesday night, that could change everything.
Well, and you talk about the issue that they have with the second round. We're going to ask ourselves the question, is traumatic experience better than no experience? Because the Pistons are in uncharted territory too. This was also the team that was down 3-1 to the Magic. They had to rally back. I mean, we play that game in Cleveland all the time when we come back and, the Guardians with their 15.5 or whatever, like, okay, yeah, you can pat yourself on the back for coming back, but you're also the same team that was that sucked bad enough to be down 15.5. I remember Eli and I having that argument pretty much weekly throughout that comeback. Right. So, yeah, I mean, this is the same team. They don't have the playoff experience even the Cavaliers do right now. I believe the Knicks are the only team in the field right now that have made the conference finals. They haven't even won it. So, we're talking about a wide open East. Boston did us so many favors. I really think we should have done an emergency broadcast last night for a half an hour, just Joel Mazzulla hate fest. But they still did us a lot of favors. This thing is wide open, and we saw it, I think, a little bit today with Game 7 with the Cavaliers and the Raptors. You saw a team that Raptors feisty. I don't want to take anything away from them, but they weren't as seasoned as the Cavaliers are. So, you saw them kind of tighten up in the fourth quarter a little bit. And I think that might have been a little bit of the why that second half played out the way it did. That being said, the dudes I'm looking at for Detroit, they got Tobias Harris. He's their second leading scorer. He's been there, done that. He's about 3,000 years old. And then you got Duncan Robinson, who's been doing big games with the Heat. He is their shooter, basically. So if they are going to kill us with 3, it's going to be Duncan Robinson doing it, I would think. So those would be the 2 guys that I would be more worried about as role players for the Pistons, because they have been there and done that before. Nobody else has. And, Harden's been knocked out of the playoffs 16 times, but he's also been there 16 times. Mitchell, same kind of thing. So right now the Cavaliers are in a weird spot where maybe, with the Knicks, they are the most experienced playoff team still left in the field, which is weird to say.
That's cool with me. Like, again, this is these playoffs all of a sudden with the Celtics being knocked out is very interesting, Rob.
And real quick to your point, too, with the 2 Game 7s, that's at least going to be a wash for the 2 teams. I guess the Pistons technically have 4 hours more rest than the Cavaliers do. So no team's going to have to play the card of, well, we're rusty as shit. No team's going to play the card of, we're dog shit tired. So they're on equal fields right now. They're going to get a day off on Monday. They're going to be back at it on Tuesday, roll the ball out, and let's get this thing going.
From a physical standpoint, I'm not concerned. Again, the Raptors were running circles around the Cavs in the first quarter and a half. That was a crazy start to the game. I'm very happy. Kenny Atkinson, and hopefully we'll get sound later in the show. I'm very happy that Kenny Atkinson said those last few minutes, slow it down. You make a shot, slow it down. And we had that big scoring run at the end of the first half that really carried over. Physically, I'm not worried to that point. Mentally, man, I'm glad you said what you said, Rob, about no experience versus traumatic experience. Like, and that's why I think Game 1 It is so critical for the Cavs to win. I'm not saying if they lose on game one, when we do, when Eli, Chad, and Kyle do the post game on Tuesday, it should be all doom and gloom. But because of the mental psyche in the past with the Cavaliers, come out guns blazing, get that W. And again, we've seen it with Bickerstaff. We've seen it. He's going to be all up on the officials, lock in. And I think Eli, real quick, I think what's key too, even though this is a quick turnaround, obviously a divisional matchup. So both of these teams know each other already, scouting each other already. I need to see the same level of defense from Jared Allen and Evan Mobley. I know he had foul trouble, but both of those guys delivered defensively tonight. I need to see a lockdown defensive effort from those two in this Pistons series.
No, absolutely, Double A. It's going to be an important front court battle. I mean, Isaiah Stewart and Jalen Duren are gonna cause a lot of havoc for the Cavaliers. They're going to be feisty. They're going to try to get in their head, try to mess with them a little bit. And it's going to be important that these guys show what they can do in the paint. Yes, we know Evan Mobley has a nice, jump shot. We know he can shoot the 3-ball. Can you get in the paint and start being physical? And he showed it at times he can, tying the game up there at the end of regulation in Game 6, which we thought, was going to eventually lead to a 6-game series victory. But here we are, got Game 7 victory. We're all right. But it's going to be important, the front court, just being physical. Evan Mobley and Jared Allen getting in the paint and dominating. Because if you can do that now, then it's a good sign for, further along. Because as I mentioned, further along down the line, you'll have Cat or Mitchell Robinson or Joel Embiid and Andre Drummond. So you're going to have to get physical. As I mentioned before this Toronto series, this is probably the least physical or imposing front court in the Eastern Conference you could go up against. All due respect to Jakob Poeltl, but these guys aren't like world beaters down low. So I think that's going to be very important. And I think another big thing that's going to be important is that Game 1. You mentioned Game 1, but yes, getting one of these victories because I'll keep stressing it. They have to win on the road. It's going to be important to get physical, get a game on the road. Can they just outgrit a team that's really got here through grit? The one big thing too, though, and this is my final point. I know we got to go break here in a few moments, but my thing, Rob, is Paulo Banchero had nobody really to bounce off of. Franz Wagner, these guys, they didn't really give him enough to help him out. The Cavaliers have, in the backcourt alone, Donovan Mitchell and James Harden, then you add Jared Allen, and you add Evan Mobley. They have enough guys that can pick up the slack if one or two of these guys are dropping off. It's just a matter of can they all string it together at the same time. That's the biggest thing. It just seems like when one or two are going most of these games, the other two are dropping off. And it'd be nice to see them all put it together. And we're getting closer, it feels, but we're not there yet.
I think that the easiest thing for the Cavs to do in Game 1, and yeah, I agree with everything you said, that it's paramount they win Game 1. That'll put the pressure on Detroit. Again, they're a young team, first time in the second round of the playoffs. They're going to have to understand that the pressure cooker keeps increasing the deeper you go. And yeah, if you're if you're now all of a sudden losing home court advantage again in the first game of the damn series, then okay. But I think what needs to happen defensively is double Cade Cunningham the entire way. Make sure his life is intensely difficult. And even as far as whoever Cade has on the other side of the floor, make sure they attack him with the ball, exhaust him, make somebody other than Cade Cunningham beat you on that team. If it's Tobias Harris, if it's Duncan Robinson, you got a couple of guys, Jaren Duren. I don't think the Pistons have enough to have a 7-game series where somebody other than Cade Cunningham beats you for 4 of those games. If you do that, if you can shut him out and make somebody else do it, I know that's easier said than done. That's going to be on guys like a Sam Merrill, like a Dean Wade. It's going to be Dennis Schroeder might be highly important in this series too. He might be It looked like what was it? Scotty Barnes was about ready to swing on him at one point in time.
Yeah,
To be that guy.
with Scotty Barnes. Thank you.
He needs to be that guy with Cade, and he just needs to be a pest. And I think if you do that, I'm not guaranteeing a Cavs sweep. I'm not even guaranteeing a Cavs series victory. But I would think that if it isn't Cade Cunningham beating you, you got a pretty damn good chance over 7 games to win 4.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Definitely.
I tend to
100%.
agree. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So
there was nothing controversial about that.
Yeah.
I'm
You
waiting
say something.
Moon, I've been waiting for lobs from you. I get shots from you every other day about opinions that I didn't think we're going to have a problem. So
No. Today we've been getting along. Today we're on the same page so far, Rozycki. We'll see. We got other stuff to talk about. We'll see. I'm sure we got something we can get into.
I'm sure later on we'll I'm sure be talking Browns quarterback situation. So I'm sure we'll differ on that one. We also got up next we'll be doing the rest of the playoffs here. We'll be talking about tarnished legacies in Denver, old men advancing in Los Angeles, and the best team in the league just chugging along like nothing is wrong. So we'll get into that. We also got news and notes. We have another I don't know if we want to call it a gambling scandal, but a gambling situation at Texas Tech. And it should be on the Browns' radar, actually. The Texas Tech's loss could be the Browns or an NFL team's gain in an unconventional way. So we got a lot to talk about here in the final, hour 20 of the show here or so. This is the main event on the Inside Edge Podcasting Network. We have Anthony Alford. We have Eli Moon. I am Rob Rozycki, and we also have a Cavaliers win, 114-102 over those Toronto Raptors. Stay in Canada, you bastards. All right, get the fuck out. All right, we are the main event. We'll be right back here again on the Inside Edge Podcasting Network. See you soon.
Mosser Moments Photography is a husband and wife wedding photography team based in Cleveland, owned and operated by Ryan and Hallie Mosser. For the past 10 years, they've captured more than 100 weddings across Northeast Ohio and beyond, always working together as a true two-person team. Their style centers on authentic, emotional storytelling, documenting the real moments between two people in love and creating images that feel natural, comfortable, and true to the couple. Rooted in Northern Ohio, but inspired by their travels, Ryan and Hallie bring a warm, personal approach to every wedding day. Their work blends experience, consistency, and a genuine passion for helping couples relive their best day through timeless photography. Learn more at MosserMomentsPhotography.com.
The Inside Edge Network is brought to you by Fanatics. Fanatics isn't just our name, it's who we are. Loyal, passionate fans, dedicated to our favorite teams and athletes to the sports we love. That's why we're honored to be able to offer fans the world's largest collection of official sports apparel and sports jerseys from all the leagues, teams, and players you love. We're talking NFL, Major League Baseball, NBA, National Hockey League, the NCAA. I'm a wrestling guy as well. We got WWE apparel available too. It allows us to serve fans of football, baseball, hockey, basketball, lacrosse, soccer, golf, and everything else that gets your heart pumping. Go to Fanatics.com by using the QR code on your screen right now to celebrate your teams. It's right there in the corner of your screen. Get your official gear. Level up with us at Fanatics.com.
Yeah, I thought in the first half again we're forcing it too much. We're driving down tunnels, right? Like just kind of forcing it down the tunnel to the basket. And sometimes you have to move the defense, right? You have to move it side to side, and sometimes it's not the first pass, it's that swing pass. So that was just, we just kept hammering that message. But second half they had to sacrifice a little bit, getting the ball to Jay, getting off the ball early, But that's those guys, Tonight was about playing a win, doing all the little things, and they really turned that around in the second half.
And welcome back to the Inside Edge Podcasting Network. That was Cavs coach Kenny Atkinson. Very happy. He is still coaching in this NBA season. He is right. Yeah, the Cavaliers, it was a tale of two halves. A very clunky-looking first half. And quite honestly, and we didn't really talk about it in the first segment. I know we'll get to the rest of the playoffs in a skosh. But the fact that they managed to tie it coming into the half, they were down by as many as 10. And they really did look lost in that first quarter, beginning of the second quarter. And I think along with you guys, I was assuming we were going to be doing angry postgame for that majority of the first half. But they managed to find some rhythm, find those threes, kind of show Toronto that they weren't dead yet, and made it a game really going into that, into the halftime break.
Yeah, a lot of times the Cavs weren't able to, especially on the road, not to keep hammering that home, but weren't able to hit those shots that could bring them closer or, kill some momentum for Toronto. And tonight they did that, and they stopped what could have got real ugly. I mean, Toronto was moving, they were being physical, they were getting to the basket, and then all of a sudden a cavalanche or whatever you want to call it happened, and the Cavs were able to tie it up. It looked good. It was a really important swing of the game.
And also, it almost kind of played out like game one. And even game two, where if you recall, particularly in game one, when Toronto went on a cold streak shooting the ball, for once the Cavaliers made them pay. We haven't seen that in a while. It's been since games 1 and 2 since we've seen that. So that felt good too. It was a combination of all of those things. And plus, Scotty Barnes getting in the early foul trouble, I think did a lot of damage for the Raptors. And again, we made them pay. So Raptors, good riddance, whatever. Bye-bye. You made us a better team.
Ancillary unplanned question. We do have, obviously, the matchup of Kenny Atkinson against his predecessor. And what is that going to do for Kenny, win or lose against JB? Are we going to be sitting here as Cavs fans, saying we made the wrong choice? Are we going to be saying we need to make a different choice with our head coach? Or are we going to be vindicated if he does take out JB? JB would be the coach that would give this team its first conference finals berth as constructed, which I think would be an ironic little twist. But what is that going to do for Kenny, especially if they lose?
It wouldn't be good. I don't think he'd lose his job or anything. Back to you.
Not good. I think we need to put that in the lower third.
Yeah, it would not be good. But I'd say this, I don't think he'd lose his job, but it would definitely be an uncomfortable, very uncomfortable offseason for Kenny Atkinson, because the whole point of getting rid of JB Bickerstaff was, hey man, you've been so nice and thanks for developing the team, but we need to get past the second round. We've only got so far with you. And for him, if he were to do this with Detroit, it would not be good for Kenny Atkinson, not good for these guys. It would be like it would be an indictment on this entire team. Like, okay, we got rid of JB Bickerstaff because you guys said, we needed to get further, and here they are doing the same thing we thought we'd be doing. So, yeah, I don't think he'd lose his job, but I think it would definitely be uncomfortable for Kenny Atkinson. This is, we talk about how important this series is for the players. This is a big series for Kenny Atkinson, too. Keep in mind, Kenny Atkinson, yes, as an assistant, has made it far with Golden State. I get it. He's had the lure, all that great stuff. He hasn't done it as a head coach. He had the Brooklyn experience, and I know it was a bad experience, there. He was dealing with superstars that didn't really want to play there anyways. But he's a guy who's still trying to break through and make his name in the playoffs. So this is a huge series for Kenny Atkinson. Huge.
I'm going to be honest. Unless Kenny Atkinson is clearly outcoached, then it'll be tough to say he would be gone. But this will show that Donovan Mitchell, James Harden, Evan Mobley, and Jared Allen are not good enough to go to the conference finals and go all the way. It will show that.
That's the thing is we're forgetting while we're enjoying the win for sure that this is what this team was supposed to do. Mm-hmm. And now is truly the test. And maybe for the Cavaliers' sake, this 7-game affair against Toronto might do them well, might actually, harden them up a little bit. But yeah, we might hit the Cavs a little bit more at the end of the show here. I just want to get to the playoffs here in general. And speaking of coaches who, that have ties to the Cavalier organization, won championships with Golden State as an assistant, and could be under a lot of pressure right now. The other set of the Eastern Conference, we have the New York Knickerbockers, coached by Mike Brown, dealing with the 76ers, fresh off their 3-1 pumping of the Boston Celtics here. Well, I'm sorry, 7-game win of the Boston Celtics here. The reports that I heard, and we can talk about a 51-point elimination loss that wasn't that close. Yes, you heard right. But the report that I heard that was more interesting even than that was out of Knicks camp. If the Knicks don't win the NBA Finals, Mike Brown could be in trouble. That even a conference championship with the Knicks might not be enough. I just wanted to know if you guys had any thoughts about that first. Keep in mind, a coach that is in his first year with the team, but who's also been fired 4 other times.
Yeah, I mean, they should have never brought Mike Brown in over Tom Thibodeau. I mean, that's my opinion. I think they made a drastic move to do that. I mean, because if they ended up in the same spot, what was the whole point of bringing Mike Brown in? The Knicks are in the same spot as the Cavs in a way. We talk about more here because we're Cleveland's digital leader, and we obviously know what the deal is with Mike Brown. He's a very nice guy. He's a great assistant coach, has won championships, but he hasn't done it, as the head coach. And so this is just talk about Kenny Atkinson, talk about these other coaches. It's a pretty important run right now for Mike Brown. Can he get it done? I don't know if he'd be gone. I don't know if I'd go that far, but again, a very
you got to remember, this is the Knicks, and they're crazy.
Yeah, that's the reason why I would go that far, because it's the Knicks.
yeah, maybe. I mean, maybe, but it definitely at the very minimum, right? It'd be a very uncomfortable offseason for Mike Brown, and there'd be discussion about who to replace him with, because the Cavs and Knicks are the 2 teams out of these 4 teams left that this is like the end of their window closing, right? Like The Knicks with Jalen Brunson, you can only make it work so much before you get frustrated and say, okay, it's not going to work with a point guard leading the team. And then the Cavs, we talk about the backcourt, we talk about with Donovan Mitchell. If it doesn't work out, this is probably the end of the window. It's kind of the same thing for both of these teams. Whereas Philadelphia, I don't know what to make of Philadelphia. It seems like they retool almost every other year. And as long as Joel Embiid's there, they got Maxey there now. But
that's the thing with Philly right now is that Embiid is showing up. The process is actually playing up to the process right now.
Yeah. No, I'm not saying that, but I'm saying as far as like window closing, I don't know what window
Maxey and
Philadelphia
Edgecombe
has.
out there, like Philly's going to be out there, I think, for a little bit longer.
Yeah, but I guess what I'm saying, Rob, is what window does Philadelphia have in terms of like where the Knicks and the Cavs are closing? The Philadelphia, it's like they're kind of just on a joyride to Vegas right now, and they're just hoping the wheels don't fall off on the way there. Like that's kind of what they're doing. And then Detroit, they're like they're just exactly what Toronto was in the first round. They're just happy to be here. They're going to see how far they can make it. I know they're the 1 seed, but they're the most inexperienced team out of all 4 of these teams. Though Philadelphia is not as imposing as maybe Boston would have been, Philadelphia is experienced, and they're trying to make a name. Joel Embiid playing probably some of his best basketball in this past round.
Well, first off with Philly, let's see how Embiid holds up because he got hit in the knee a couple times.
Yeah.
So to answer your question about what's the window for Philadelphia, it's kind of day to day.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the window for Philly is Joel Embiid's injury status. Let's just be straight up about it.
It's that, but also Maxey's been balling out too. So I will always give him a shot.
At this point in time, you need Embiid. At this point in time, like, okay, in the regular season, Maxey and Edgecombe, they can do it for you, no problem. You need Embiid to be Embiid. And it feels like, to Eli's point real quick, that, the Sixers and Pistons are both kind of feeling like they're on borrowed time. Like, hey, we're here. We're kind of in uncharted territory. I don't know if anybody expected us to do this at the beginning of the season. So, it's kind of a weird dichotomy with the Knicks and Cavs, who are about as seasoned as it gets right now in the East.
But I think with the Knicks, I think if you're in New York, you might be arguing that you're on borrowed time too. From this standpoint, first off, Mike Brown was never their guy, so they got other. I'm just trying to explain their line of thinking. They have other people out there available, Billy Donovan. And a few others, Calipari, like those.
Dan
guys.
Hurley. No, just kidding.
Yeah, exactly. That'll be interesting. But I think the way the Knicks are looking at this is a year where we don't have to face Boston. Boston's out. Jason Tatum was never really healthy. I didn't like that, but whatever. Tatum's not healthy. Boston's out of it. Indiana, no Tyrese Halliburton. So the Eastern Conference, in their eyes, they're the odds-on favorite at this point. The New York.
Well, I think if you were to look at DraftKings, they're probably the odds-on favorite. So I know
to win
the
East,
line for the Pistons Cavs game right now is 3.5 for Detroit. So, and I think Detroit's even favored to win the series.
So I think from the Knicks standpoint, and Knicks fans, if they don't at least go to the finals, then I don't think they have any issue moving on from Mike Brown. And again, Rob, what you laid out at the beginning of the segment, you laid out logical points, which for a lot of other franchises, it would make sense for everything that you said earlier in the segment. But for the Knicks,
and James Dolan,
they have James Dolan.
Yeah.
They have Mr. Bandwagon fan himself, Stephen A. Smith. So you have things like that.
Somebody tell Stephen A. they're in the second round, by the way.
Well, Stephen A. is busy getting cursed by Dan House.
That's right.
He's busy right
That's
now.
right. And that's another thing to keep it.
That's a real thing in 2026, everybody.
Keep in mind, Rob, that you know what? The Knicks also have the curse of Danhausen playing against them. So
it worked. Hold up. That curse worked through 6 games. The Knicks fan used the cameo with Danhausen. Paid Danhausen real money. Danhausen uncursed the Knicks. The Knicks won in Game 6.
And I actually did.
Now they're cursed again.
It was a fan video in WrestleMania ramp up. They asked Danhausen if he had any sports teams to curse, and he said anybody playing Detroit. So we might have to worry about that this upcoming series. But speaking of cursed, I do want to get one more thing here, at least on the Eastern Conference. And you mentioned it real quick. We talked about it a little bit in the first couple segments, but we need to talk about the fact that the Boston Celtics are no longer in the playoffs. And that they went, the reason why Philly is even here to begin with. Joel Mazzulla, the Celtics head coach, started 3 guys. I can't even remember their names because they are the first 3 guys. Ron Harper Jr. was one of them, I think.
Yep.
Garza?
Yeah, Luka Garza and Baylor Shireman.
Good job, Eli. That's going to be the answer to a trivia question one day. You're going to win $10 in a bar.
Dang, that's awesome.
Because the answer to the trivia question is who are the only what is the only time 3 players in an NBA playoff game started and finished with no points combined? And I have never seen, and there is a case to be made, and this is kind of why I hate the whole predict the record. Like, hey, if the Cavaliers get knocked out in the second round, what do you want to say to that? If they get knocked out in the third, whatever. Because it's all about how you get there. Because if you were to look at Boston at the beginning of the season and say, hey, you don't have Jason Tatum, you're going to get into the playoffs, you're going to be in the first round and get knocked out. I think most Boston fans would have been okay with that. But Tatum comes back, they look great, and it is probably the biggest case of coaching malfeasance I've ever seen in a Game 7, arrogance at its absolute finest. And I should Joel Mazzulla get fired out of this one? I know he won a title a few years back, but the fact that Boston shoots the 3, and when they miss it, they keep shooting it, and when they miss those, they keep shooting them again. The fact that Boston doesn't really adjust, that the worst starting lineup, I think, in playoff history for a Game 7. Does Joel Mazzulla should he be in discussion of losing his job?
No, I don't think so. I mean, it was really bad. I mean, they played 0 minutes. That lineup played 0 minutes, the entire season together, so it was bad. I mean, pretty questionable. If it would have worked out, he would have been a genius. It didn't work out, so he looks real bad. But I don't think he loses his job. I will say this, though, and I have some thoughts on Inside Edge Prime Time, so make sure, if you're out there watching, thank you for choosing us as your source of sports, entertainment, mental health conversations. Got some thoughts on Primetime tomorrow at 10 o'clock on Jaylen Brown and the Celtics. There will be a switch-up, Rozycki, with this Boston Celtics team. I think we have seen the last of Jaylen Brown in a Boston Celtics jersey.
That's a hot take.
I think we have seen the last of Jaylen Brown in a Boston Celtics jersey.
I agree.
I think he has come out and he has said so much. I think the Celtics are getting tired of the podcasting Jaylen Brown. And Jaylen Brown, when it comes down to leading a team, because Jason Tatum reminded everybody out there he didn't play yesterday because they were being careful with his injury. He couldn't get the job done. So I get the role players at 0 points. Rob, we talk about all the time in Cleveland. We talk about can the star player step up, and Jaylen Brown did not step up enough to get the job done. They made it close at the end, but he didn't do it. And then all the talking after the game, and I got some thoughts.
Well, Jaylen Brown played at an MVP level the entire season without Tatum,
right? And
then, I don't want to make him sound like a piece of garbage. He has a title on his own, but I think they need to switch up out there.
Postseason, they'll be fine with Jason Tatum and putting another guy running with him, especially a healthier, get an off-season Jason Tatum. And all the thoughts about Joel Embiid and the flopping. Meanwhile, AA is literally covered on Midnight Run here on the network about Jaylen Brown and his forearm use and throwing it anytime he gets the chance. I mean, the guy just seems to speak out and kind of just talk out of his ass. And for somebody who spoke at Harvard, I don't understand some of the things he says. And he is a smart guy. I'm not saying he's not a smart guy. He just talks out of his ass. And it's like about the flopping, but yet you do the same thing. Because as you acknowledge, that's how the league is. And then he also had thoughts about, they asked him about Jason Tatum, and he said, well, I didn't know anything until about 45 minutes of the game. That kind of tells me that they don't care to tell you because they don't have you in their plans after that. I just think Jaylen Brown, and I'll talk about it more tomorrow on Primetime, Jaylen Brown is out of Boston this offseason.
I think you're dead on right, and I think there might be someone that could play into that, and it's going to play into a lot of teams' plans in the offseason. I would say right now, between their aggressiveness and their track record, I would give the Boston Celtics the clubhouse lead on the odds of getting Giannis Antetokounmpo. That would be the trade. I think you would send.
Oh no!
I think you would. Yes, I think
I hope not.
because Boston
I hope
is
you're
so
dead
open
wrong.
to
That would
diversity.
not be good.
I think but you're going to have other teams that are going to be in that mix. I think the Knicks traded their way out of it with that big trade they made this time last year. The Heat are going to be involved in that one. I think he does have some desire to go to Miami, but I think Giannis is going to be kind of the storyline of the offseason. I don't even know what the Cavaliers were going to be doing. We could be talking in 2 weeks about a Cavaliers exit from the playoffs, and hey, we're out of that second apron again. So all of a sudden we can play by the same rules as everybody else. Is that a possibility? So I think that's going to weigh into what a lot of teams are going to be doing. And then subsequently, you're going to have every other team who doesn't get him looking for a backup plan very quickly. But I think look at what Boston's done, man. They've made those big trades. Marcus Smart, him being traded was unthinkable at one point in time.
Yeah, a lot of people hated that trade across the board.
Until they were holding the Larry O, and then it was fine.
Yeah,
but so Brad
Isaiah
Stevens
Thomas
wins Executives of the Year for a reason. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean Isaiah Thomas, all these guys, AA. I'm telling you, I do not be surprised when on Fanatics.com, one of our great sponsors here of the Inside Edge Network, they have a Milwaukee or just a different jersey for Jaylen Brown. I could see. Here's another thing I could see.
Jaylen Brown to Milwaukee for Giannis and 4 of his brothers. There you go.
I could see another thing that I don't think we're giving a lot of thought to is Phoenix. If for Boston, you go get a guy like Devin Booker who just wants to win, and you put him next to Jason Tatum. I'll talk about it more tomorrow on Prime Time, but I got some thoughts.
I did not come into this show even thinking of the possibility of Jaylen Brown not being in Boston. I'm intrigued to hear the breakdown of how that could happen. Because I'm intrigued. I have my popcorn ready. I will say this real quick about Boston, just as a team. How many times have we mentioned if the shots aren't falling, you can't win? And the Celtics relied a ton, even when they won the championship, they could not miss from downtown. Mm-hmm. And not having Tatum out there for Game 7, not hitting from downtown, that hurt. But also what hurt too was Philadelphia getting out to a double-digit lead at the very beginning of the game because of a lineup that has played 0 minutes together. I'm just trying to imagine if Cleveland did that, considering that Cleveland trotted out 40+ different starting lineups this year.
Yeah, I don't think it's possible for us to put a lineup out there that hasn't been together for at least a minute or two. I think we've exhausted every combination mathematically possible.
Yeah,
I mean, and think of it like this. I'm watching the Kentucky Derby.
Because I'm like, start Craig Porter? I'm like, no, we've done that. Like,
yeah. Okay. So I'm watching Kentucky Derby. Shout out to the winning horse. And then right away, NBC, brilliant marketing. All right, we go for the Kentucky Derby to boom, tip off. Oh yeah, I heard that. Yeah, well, and good job on NBC. I've noticed NBC's had a lot of this big stuff over the last. Like Mike Tirico's been eaten everywhere. He did a Kentucky Derby. He did a Kentucky Derby yesterday. And he's calling the Cavs game. I'll tell you this.
He did the Olympics. He's done the Super Bowl. He's been busy as shit the last. And I'm sure there's been some golf in there on some level.
I have never watched more Channel 3 than I have because we do the show on Sunday nights. And all the big events, almost every single week we've done this show, has been on Channel 3.
Yeah. Right? Well, yeah, Peacock's been that's been, and look at the Cavs game 1. It'll be against Detroit on Peacock Tuesday, 7 o'clock is going to be the tip off. So
yeah, we'll have the
you guys will have post game on everything happening that night, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, Kyle Cornell, Chad Bryan, and myself. It'll be on. We'll have post game and then Inside Edge prime time after. So it may be an abbreviated one, so you may get 45 minutes, you may get an hour prime time, and then of course, AA Anthony Alford, our bro, he'll be on midnight to 1. AA 5-day week coming up this week for you.
Yeah,
and for me.
yeah, this and then we're doing this show now. I have the game 3 post game with our guy TK Dandridge. So I think this is the first of 13 straight days for me on the air.
Proud of you.
I know the feeling. I know the feeling. Yes, I think I've seen a microphone more than I've seen my girlfriend the last 2.5 weeks. So I do get that.
You and Dennis Maniloff. Man, I'm sure D-Man's going to feel pretty good about the Cavs and.
That's actually, that's going to make my tomorrow a lot easier because if the Cavs lost tonight, there would have been a D-man sized crater in our studio, probably by about 8:15.
Yeah.
So
Dennis
yeah,
Maniloff, of course, on WTAM 1100 with Robert Rozycki.
Oh yeah, and you can for radio content here. Obviously, I'll just give a plug to my home over there. The Cavaliers typically they're going to be on WMMS 100.7 here locally. The Guardians they will be on the AM station. So the Cavaliers game will be on WMMS because I think the Guardians do have a evening game on Tuesday, if I'm not mistaken, at this rate. So yeah, it'll be on radio on WMMS. It'll be on TV on the Peacock. And it'll post game here on the Inside Edge Podcasting Network. Now, next segment, we're backed up here. I mean, obviously, I think we're going to be talking to some sponsors here. We need to talk to like Colon Blow or something like that to get us unclogged here, or Roto Rooter. But we have a choice. We could come back. We could talk about Shiloh Sanders versus Mary Kay Cabot. Yeah, you heard me right on that. We can talk about Shador Sanders versus Deshaun Watson. Or we can talk about Nikola Jokic versus the entire Timberwolves team and old man LeBron facing the Thunder. What do you guys want to do?
Double A. It's on you.
Man, that buck was. You know how to pass that thing. Oh, that's great. Yeah, we need to have
Shador versus Deshaun. Let's go.
All right, let's go.
Okay, so Browns quarterback situation it is. We'll talk about old man LeBron and the fact that he is somehow the oldest player in the league and still in the playoffs in the second round, throwing assists to his literal child. This is the main event here on the Inside Edge Podcasting Network. We'll talk Browns coming up next. We'll have a little bit of news and notes after that. We'll figure out what the hell we've learned over the last 7 days, and then we'll get you going on your way and to start your weekend or start your week tomorrow morning on Monday. All right, for Anthony Alford, Eli Moon, I'm Rob Rozycki. We'll be back.
Whether you're searching for a baseball autographed by your favorite World Series slugger, a signed football by an iconic Hall of Famer, or the jersey of a world-famous soccer star, you've come to the right place. Here at sportsmemorabilia.com, the web's leading source of authentic sports memorabilia, you'll find more than 500,000 authentic products from nearly every professional sports league, team, and player. Not only will you find your next prized sports possession with ease thanks to superb customer service and tremendous site experience, but you'll have the satisfaction and peace of mind that every product listed comes complete with a certificate of authenticity and is fully backed by the sportsmemorabilia.com lifetime authenticity guarantee.
Hey, I got something to show you guys. Take a look. It is spring. Happy spring to all of you. Take a look at what we have here for you from AlleyRoseFragrances.com. Beautiful spring scent candles here for you. Hand poured with premium fragrance and essential oils. How about this? Our coconut soy wax candles bring fresh, uplifting spring scents to your home. Made with clean, natural ingredients, they're a mindful choice for sensitive spaces and those who love effortless seasonal fragrances. You got to check it out right now. There's the soft bloom and the lemon bar candles, all healthy ingredients, all from AlleyRoseFragrances.com. And if you're a first-time customer, use the promo code InsideEdge20. That's InsideEdge20. Get this for yourself, for your friends, family, everyone. You want a good-smelling home, AlleyRoseFragrances.com will make it happen. Again, AlleyRoseFragrances.com. Get the new spring candles. And when you order, if you're a first-time customer, InsideEdge20 is the promo code.
Welcome back to the main event here on the Inside Edge Podcasting Network. I am Rob Rozycki. We got Double A, Anthony Alford, Eli Moon. Just an observation here. I'm watching the post game here on Sports Center with Scott Van Pelt. Salute fellow bald man in media. But Kendrick Perkins looks like he's about ready to run for office. I didn't hear a word the man said. It's on no volume whatsoever. But I just look up and I see Perk in that big old suit. And he looks like he's about ready to run for, like, North Carolina's 7th district at this rate.
I mean,
I don't think I needed to hear anything he had to say. Like that
was for the best.
The best part about Perk.
Well, hey, one thing he's not calling us soft and creamy in the middle tonight.
No.
That's a good point. That's a great callback, and that was a shot at Jared Allen.
Yeah, he's not calling us creamy in the middle of the night. That's for sure, Perk. We're not hostess cupcakes tonight.
No,
we're like fruitcake. Well,
now he's saying do it on the road.
Pause. Yeah, pause. Back to you, Rob. Back to you.
All right, but yes, back to reality here. We spent the first hour on basketball. Obviously, it needed it. The Cavaliers won 114-102. They advanced to the second round. In the Eastern Conference playoffs, we're playing Detroit Tuesday, 7 o'clock in Detroit. That'll be on Peacock and WMMS here locally. But, yeah, we'll move on to the other big news happening here in Cleveland. And, of course, I am talking about Travis Bazzana's first hit. No,
yes.
That's big news, too. That's big news. Congrats.
Well, we can spend about 8 seconds here talking about how blessed the Guardians were this weekend of being in the Bang Box out in Sacramento, the AAA ballpark out there, hitting home runs like they're the 1927 New York Yankees, scoring 14 runs, scoring 8 runs. Okay, they scored 1 today, but we'll talk about that later. But no, we won't. But yeah, like the fact that they were out in Oakland or Sacramento now and taking advantage of a very tiny park really helped them out this weekend. It really did.
Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree. I think, the Guardians, hopefully the offense can stay keep it consistent. Hopefully Bazzana found his bat officially, with the first hit today, because it's got to work. It's got to work. He's up here now, so it's got to work.
Well, the one nice thing too with Bazana, and you can say the same thing about DeLauder, even though he's been up here a little longer. Even though DeLauder did have kind of a cold week and a half or so midway, like kind of after the home opener. But throughout that whole stretch and throughout Bazana's first 4 games before that hit, he had walked, I think it was about 6 times before that hit, and I think it's now 7 or 8 today.
Yeah.
So he is getting on base. He isn't being overmatched in at-bats. Neither is DeLauder. And for 2 young players, that's kind of the first thing I look for when it comes down to like predictors of long-term major league success. If he can handle themselves early on in the majors, then, hey, we're doing pretty good. So it looks like we do have an outfielder and we do have a second baseman for the future for Jose's twilight years in Cleveland.
Heck yeah. I'm with it.
All right, but yes, we'll go back to, of course, the hot topic here in town, and that is Sanders versus Watson. Browns quarterback. It seems like it's the question we're always asking, and we never really quite find an answer to. And when we do, we trade it to Carolina for a 5th-round pick. But yeah, we are now coming off a report from Mary Kay Cabot, who is front and center right now. I mentioned it a little bit with Shiloh Sanders. He had some things to say about Mary Kay's report that said that you might as well just name Watson the starter now. It's done. We have seen 4 hours of OTAs in April. It's over. It's over. It's over. And the fan base has gone absolutely ballistic on Shador, on Watson, on Mary Kay Cabot, and pretty much on I would think all of their loved ones too. This for a late April story has probably been about the biggest one I've seen in a while that didn't involve an arrest or a legal.
Yeah, I mean, if you've been watching along the network the last week or so, you know my thoughts on this. I mean, I voiced it on Midnight Run. I voiced it on Prime Time. You could have had more of a colossal mistake and a way to kill excitement in Cleveland and Berea and Lakewood and in Strongsville and Sheffield Heights and Canton and Akron and I mean even fans in Cincinnati that are Browns fans, wherever wherever they're at.
Solon, Maple Heights, Vermillion,
Yes,
Brunswick,
wherever they're at, I couldn't find a better way to kill excitement than that. What the Browns are talking about doing here, or at least the report from Mary Kay Cabot.
Around killing excitement.
You know, the report from Mary Kay Cabot, and all due respect to Mary Kay Cabot, she's, does her thing. But it's just crazy to me that we are sitting here in 2026 having a conversation after the draft, a week after. Now, Thursday will be 2 weeks. After our draft coverage here on the Inside Edge Network, we're all excited. Oh, my goodness. The worst thing I'm going to have to worry about going into the season is Casey Concepcion and can he catch the ball? Well, I'm wrong. Now I have to worry about Deshaun Watson again. I mean, let me be very clear. Deshaun Watson, not only on the field, has produced absolutely nothing worth the money. He's not produced anything worth half the money, a third of the money, whatever you want to say here. He has not produced. You could have got Gardner Minshew or Carson Wentz or anybody of these other quarterbacks to do the same thing he is doing for a lot less money. But if you want to go past the on the field, off the field, he alienated quite a lot of the fan base to the point where longtime fans are talking about not wanting to be fans anymore because how can you have this guy as the leader of your franchise? You sold your soul and it didn't work out. Usually when you sell your soul, you at least get something in return. The Browns got a bunch of high draft picks. Well, they didn't because they traded all of them for Watson for years, and now they finally got a few. It is the most embarrassing thing I could ever think of. We are literally in the rearview mirror of the worst trade. And you know what the Browns are like? I use this on Midnight Run. It's like the curling iron. The curling iron was sitting there in my mom's bathroom sink, our bathroom sink. My mom specifically said, do not grab the curling iron. What did young Eli Moon do? Grab the curling iron. My mom was devastated. She couldn't believe I did it. I was devastated. I can't believe I did it.
Her lighters for me. Her lighters.
That's a pain. Oh, yeah. I got some stories on that, too. I'll have to tell next week. But, Rob, I told this AA on Midnight Run. And for anybody that's just tuning in tonight and missed Midnight Run, reminder, it's on Monday through Friday, 12 to 1. If I grab the... Yeah, exactly. If I grab the curling iron again, I'd be at fault. I'm the dumbass. I grabbed the curling iron. The Browns have already grabbed the curling iron. They already found out it was hot. I cannot feel for this organization anymore if they continue to grab the curling iron when it has already said, I'm hot. It's not going to be fun. You were going to burn yourself. You were going to look stupid. And the Browns just keep grabbing it. I just don't understand. Double A, I really, truly don't understand. They could literally get you so excited for this team, and then they just completely bash it. They completely bash it. In fact, I'd rather watch Casey Concepcion drop every single pass week 1 than see this freaking dude as a starter. Yes, I would.
No, you wouldn't. No, you wouldn't.
Well, that'd be tough too. But this is a way worse reality than that.
I'll make my thoughts brief here. They have a team. All those quarterbacks that we mentioned, the organization feels Deshaun's better. And it's really, and Tom Monk is going to let it play out and stuff and see what happens. But in the eyes of the organization, they have the team now finally that they kind of like, with last year's draft class. And then by all accounts, they had an A+ level draft this year on paper. So you want to find out if your investment's worth it with Deshaun. I mean, he's the problem, though. The one point I will disagree with Eli, he's not in the rearview mirror. He's still on the roster. So if he's still on your roster and is still healthy, you may have to find out once and for all if he can play any lick of football. And it won't take long to find out whether or not he can play or not. It's only going to take a couple of weeks of regular season play. I mean, by week 2, week 3, we'll know if he belongs on the field or not. And if he doesn't, he'll be pulled, and that's that.
Double A, this is like, let me give an example for all my smokers out there. I know Rozycki smokes cigarettes. I hit the vape, okay? When a vape is dying, you know it is dying because it is not hitting right, the battery's dying, the juice ain't hitting. That's Deshaun Watson. He's a dying vape. The juice ain't hitting, the battery's all out. It ain't the Houston Texans when you first get the vape and there's no problems with it. No, this thing has hit the ground a few times. You went running, you dropped it a few times. The vape is dying. Why would I continue to just go with that when I could go get a new vape, a new quarterback, a new situation?
Real quick, and then Rob, jump in. As somebody who doesn't vape, I do have a question. What's the most expensive vape that you ever... Can you answer that on the air?
Yeah, it's like, no problem. I mean, like, with tax, it's $21.59. So this is my plea to drop the vape price.
Hold up, say that again.
$21.59. $21.59.
No, what was the vape?
Oh, what vape was it? North.
Okay, if you paid for a high-level vape, don't you want to find out if it's good stuff?
Double, if I drop the vape 3 to 4 different times... It is dying. It is saying I will not hit right anymore. I've torn my Achilles twice. I have a lot of off the field issues. I'm not even your favorite flavor, but you took a chance on me. I would not want this vape anymore. No, I would not want this vape anymore. I would be cool. Rozycki, are you picking up what I'm throwing down?
Rob, if it's good stuff.
This cart hasn't worked since the pandemic. That's where I'm at. Is the last time the guy that everyone wants to show up, the last time we saw that dude, we were all wearing masks. We were all, watching reruns of Tiger King and Last Dance and having a good old time with that. So that's my opinion on and name me an NFL player who, even uninjured, was out for 5 years, 6 years, and came back suddenly and did everything like he was the all-pro that he was. And then factor in the shoulder, factor in the Achilles, factor in all of the, we'll just say, mental trauma from off-field incidents. I don't think the level of success is that high. Now, can I blame the Browns for taking this $250 million cart or $250 million horse and kicking it until it's all the way dead? I do understand that. It's like, okay, there's an element of like, oh, we paid for this meal. We may not like it, but it costs a lot of money, so we're going to finish it. So I understand, maybe exhausting all options. My concern out of the whole thing is that, again, this isn't Mary, and not to get into the whole shitstorm around Mary Kay. I don't think this is Mary Kay starting, bullshit. I don't think this is her starting drama. Mm-hmm. What I think this is more of an indictment on is that Shedeur hasn't done enough to make this, a 15-point NBA Game 7 with a minute and a half to go. He hasn't blown out the competition yet. He hasn't. Now, grant you, again, we are talking about 2 or 3 days of off-season training, voluntary workouts in April. So there is a lot of this process to play out. And I think Monken is probably doing the right thing and letting it play out. The one nice thing with Monken is that he didn't sign Watson. He didn't draft Shedeur. There is literally no sentimental attachment to any of these quarterbacks. Maybe the seventh rounder that everybody hates, but because he was drafted. But so at least he'll be able to kind of look at it and do what needs to be done and look at the fan base and say, okay, I do respect everything that you've been feeling the last 5 years, but quite frankly, that can't weigh into my decision. I'm just going to do this as the best quarterback's going to have to play. Again, no sentimental attachment. So I can understand why they're exhausting all options with Deshaun, but I think this kind of says more about Shedeur with the fact that he hasn't taken that leap yet to make this not even a question.
Yeah, that was my bigger point. Was like, what is Shedeur not doing, in practice to overcome, Deshaun Watson? And again, to be fair, we're talking 3 practices.
Yeah, that's in April.
In April. So to be fair, and I've always said Deshaun Watson, due to his football experience, is going to look better in practice. So
and he's kind of had a track record, even the last couple of years, of looking fantastic in practice or in preseason. And then when everything gets real, it gets a little different.
Yeah, so Shedeur has to look better and outperform Deshaun in practice. That's a big part, and we got to. And again, I adore Shedeur Sanders on the field. Shedeur lost the starting job to Dylan Gabriel in the past. I do want to pinpoint one thing real quick with Deshaun Watson that I think maybe the organization, the Haslams, they're looking at this and saying, if we get Deshaun to this particular level, it's worth the investment. This is going to be a stupid case to make here, but I'm trying here. In 2023, I pulled it up on the computer here on the side. His game log. He won 4 games. He won 5 games. He was 5-1 in 2023. Although one of those games was
that the one at Baltimore that you got knocked out on?
Yeah, I'm going to get to that in 2 seconds. But yes. One of those games was against Indy where he got knocked out early.
That's the one I was thinking of. Okay,
it was the Indy game. Yeah, it was the Indy game. He got knocked out early, but because he started, he's credited for the win. So if you toss that, 4-1. And the last 2 games he played, November 5th against Arizona, November 12th against Baltimore. Offense looked good. 19 of 30. 2 touchdowns for Deshaun against Arizona. And then the Ravens, 20 of 34, 59% completion percentage, 1 touchdown, 1 interception. But Deshaun did look good. And I think in their eyes, I think they feel if Deshaun Watson was not hurt, he would have been the one that would have finished out that regular season, not Joe Flacco. And he had the ability to lead the Browns with a healthy offense into the playoffs. I think there are some people real quick, I think there's some people in the organization who feel that Deshaun Watson is still on the roster.
Okay. That was before the shoulder injury, and that's one of those things that quarterbacks have a very tough time coming back from. What did the Achilles injury happen after that? Yeah, it did happen after that.
Yes, it was. Yes.
So we're talking about the two elephants in the room when it comes down to the injuries. So I don't know about that. The other question that I would have, from a practical standpoint, Double A, if you're dead on right, we're if we're talking next year and we're living in a reality where Deshaun Watson was the Pro Bowl starter, the Browns made, what went 9-7 with this roster, good young roster, whatever. What's the upside of that for the future? Is Deshaun Watson going to re-sign here? Is he going to be the quarterback for the next 5 to 10 years? I mean, I know he's young enough to do it. I think he'll be 31 or 30 right now.
Yeah, he's 30 right now. Yeah.
So he's young enough. But do you really see the Browns in 2 years looking at that thing going, you know what, we're going to go on that roller coaster again? And do you see Deshaun saying, I want to go on that roller coaster again? So at that rate, why not put Shador in, find out if you got what you got, and then look at the 27 draft, which everyone's talking about being the panacea for every problem in the NFL, and get your quarterback then if it doesn't work out.
I wholeheartely agree with both of you guys. If this was me and it was just no politics involved, I think Shador Sanders could be fantastic in this league, to be perfectly honest. So I'm with you guys. I'm trying to think the way the Browns are thinking. And sometimes in order to do that, you got to be stupid.
I was going to say you might need a shot of Jack.
Yes. Either that or Don Julio. Like, you need something like just to be the one other thing. I know, Eli, I apologize. I know we got a break. 30 seconds. Let's say Deshaun actually plays well. Are you going to give him a pay cut?
You're going to try to extend him?
Because you can't give him that contract again. So,
No.
So, will Deshaun...
Are you going to look at him and say, like, hey, here's an Aaron Rodgers $17 million contract, and just be like, here you go?
Right.
Eli, I didn't even think about that. Like, let's just say 1 of a 100 chance he actually plays well. You got to give him a pay cut.
You guys are making me want to smoke a cigarette. You guys...
We have that effect on people. Well, but the nice thing is at least you'll have a couple of minutes to do that. We're going to go to break real quick.
Okay.
I'm looking at Iranian sympathizer Sergeant Slaughter here at a SummerSlam promo. It's a sight to be seen. So I'm going to enjoy that. We'll take a quick break here. We'll come back with some news and notes. Maybe continue this Browns discussion. If it's warranted, we'll figure it out. And then figure out what we've learned and send you on your way in about a half an hour. This is the main event on the Inside Edge Podcasting Network. I'm Rob. We have Anthony. We have Eli. And we have you. Thank you. We'll be right back here after a message from, the people who are paying us to be here. We love them all. We'll be right back.
Clean energy, bold flavors, no jitters. See why people won't shut up about Dubby. Clean energy, no jitters or crash. Helps you lock in and focus. Over 15 absolute fire flavors to choose from. Visit Dubby.gg and use promo code InsideEdge10. Mosser Moments Photography is a husband and wife wedding photography team based in Cleveland, owned and operated by Ryan and Hallie Mosser. For the past 10 years, they've captured more than 100 weddings across Northeast Ohio and beyond, always working together as a true two-person team. Their style centers on authentic, emotional storytelling, documenting the real moments between two people in love and creating images that feel natural, comfortable, and true to the couple. Rooted in Northern Ohio, but inspired by their travels, Ryan and Hallie bring a warm, personal approach to every wedding day. Their work blends experience, consistency, and a genuine passion for helping couples relive their best day through timeless photography. Learn more at MosserMomentsPhotography.com.
And welcome back to the main event here on the Inside Edge Podcasting Network. We are Rob Rozycki, Anthony Alford, Eli Moon. And we have talked. Do we want to continue our Browns discussion?
Hell no. Hell no.
No.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think there's enough aspirin on the planet to kind of keep that going here. Let's move on to news and notes. Let's get this thing into a landing position here and figure out a way to conclude this whole thing. We got a lot of stuff kind of happening in the world of sports, gentlemen, that are flying under the radar. I guess locally we'll start. You know what? We'll move. No, this is the big one here. We have a situation going on at Texas A&M. Brandon Shoresby, the quarterback over there, he was, I believe, I forget where he was transferring from. I want to, but he was the big. What's up?
Cincinnati.
Cincy. Okay. All I could think of was red. I almost said Louisville.
There you go.
But he is transferring over to Texas A&M in one of these big NIL deals. A&M's one of those schools, along with Miami, that kind of like to grab a fifth-year guy and ride with him at quarterback for a year. And Shoresby was going to be that dude until earlier this week, he announced that he is voluntarily checking into rehab for gambling. And this isn't the same kind of deal that the NBA guys are running into. Damon Jones pleading guilty. Chauncey Billups is in issues. It looks like there was no information exchange. There was no attempt to alter a result of a game. However, he did bet a couple of times as a freshman on his own Indiana football team, along with, the same kind of bets that you'd see from college kids right now, going pitch by pitch, betting a buck a pitch or a buck a down, kind of that habitual gambling that we've all been worried about with this newer generation of kids kind of coming up. But it is the gambling that he had with the games on Indiana that are having him running into some issues right now with his eligibility. The NCAA says if you bet on a game that you're involved in, you're done. He has retained counsel to try to challenge that. But right now, Texas A&M, at the very least, their quarterback room is up in arms right now. College football is very worried, and the NCAA, I think, is trying to find a new role as the gambling police, because they're going to be the ones that are going to try to handle it. We'll see what happens in court, but right now this looks to be the scandal of the week with college football and gambling.
Yeah. In about a week, a week's time or so, they lost their best, two of their best defenders to the draft, David Bailey and Jacob Rodriguez. And now
you celebrate that at least.
You celebrate it
if you don't put on the brochure.
You celebrate it if you don't lose your quarterback the following week. And that's what Texas Tech did. I mean, remember when steroids were the biggest issue in sports? Like steroids or smoking weed, like that was like the biggest issue.
Remember when they all got all the Ohio State boys got suspended for tattoos?
I mean, it's tattoos. I'm still pissed about that, by the way.
It's just crazy to me that we live in a world now where not saying it should happen again, but if steroid era came back in baseball, nobody would give a shit. I'm just being so real. Nobody would give a shit.
Enhanced games.
Yes, I have.
That's going to be happening.
I think that's crazy. I think that's a little crazy. But I still think if steroid era came back in baseball, or if a running back happened, or a receiver for the Cleveland Browns happened to test positive for weed, whatever it may be, I think that we wouldn't bat an eye. I mean, compared to what is going on right now, AA, this is crazy. They're betting on the games.
That's why I think to that point, Josh Gordon he played during the wrong era. If he was playing right now, Josh Gordon would be on his way to the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
He'd still be playing. He would still be in the league.
Dude. He would be our number one receiver. No question.
You're damn right. Dude, he still might be our number one receiver right now based off our room's a little better now. All right. But still, the betting is not good. Obviously. And it's just a terrible look. I mean, here's the thing. I'm not saying that, like, I bet crazy units, but we've joked about me betting parlays on here. I want to be so clear. I'm not very good at winning the money already. If they're screwing me over by rigging these games, then it is kind of bullshit. I
gotta call you out on that, man.
I've been on fire. I can't lie. I've been on fire. But I'd be so pissed, guys. And it's disappointing, you know. And for Texas Tech, now they're in scramble mode. Transfer portal already pretty much cleaned up. All the guys are pretty much where they're going to be at. You know, the big name would have been Dylan Raiola, but I believe he went over to Oregon, and he's backing up Dante Moore, who came back to school. So that would have been the big name that maybe would have went there. But Texas Tech's in a problem. Like I said, I understand celebrated, Rob, but they still lost Bailey and Rodriguez on the defensive side. And now they're the quarterback they tried to bring in as the guy to get them over the hump is not going to be there, more than likely.
I do have one quick follow-up question.
Yep.
Was he betting under the age of 21?
I don't know. Well, let me see how old he is right now. I would, because he said he was a freshman at Indiana when he was betting. So unless he was really dumb and needed 2 years of community college, I would think he would be under 21.
Right. Even beyond college rules, like, isn't that illegal?
Yeah.
So far, there hasn't been any law, at least that I've have read, any law enforcement in this. This is purely an NCAA. So I think what saved his ass was him going into rehab voluntarily. Now, the other, I guess, and we can talk about the gambling stuff for a second here too. This isn't just a sports, an athlete thing. This is a society thing. We've talked about this a lot where, a staggering amount of, males between 18 and 25 have a full-blown gambling addiction. We get these things all the time on, commercials. They look so great. It's Kevin Hart doing it. It's LeBron doing it. It's star-studded, and we don't talk about it in the commercials, the dark side of it, where, foreclosures are up, repossessions are up, outstanding credit cards are up, when they were talking about some of these gambling reforms saying that, hey, you shouldn't be able to put a bet on plastic. I completely understand that. I completely get that. But, we were worried about these athletes getting, being targets because they didn't make a lot of money and they could be easily financially persuaded into altering a game. This is the complete other problem. This is a kid who's had millions. He's made NIL money the last couple of years in college. He is now spending. He is now doing stupid. He is the one betting. We're having the problems of rich kids having too much money to know what to do with. So I don't think this is going to be the last one of these to happen. And I think, with all of these sports, Moon, you talk about, if it's preordained, you find out this stuff is fixed. at least the games that he bet on, he was a freshman backup quarterback for. He didn't have a whole lot to do with, and it was Indiana football. They lost both games. It was Indiana football before Signetti. So no surprises there. So,
yeah, but the spread, but like spreads and
But
stuff,
that
it's like
being-
and you don't know who he is, who he's friends with, if he's friends with the star receiver on the team, or at that time or whatever. If they have the catch over, you never. Yeah, I mean, just different
But that
spreads
being-
because that's just a game.
But and to your point, how many of these can college sports, can any sport have before that's just kind of the general common, perception, even if it isn't the reality of it. The only example I can think of is going back in pro wrestling history when you would have towns like New York, Boston, Los Angeles, and there would be an expose about how the business is fake and about how it's preordained back in an era where that was not a common thing to know. And like Los Angeles, they went from selling, I think it was like 700,000 tickets in a year. They all realized it was bullshit, and that turned into 40,000 pretty quick. So, all and that's what I've been saying since day one with the gambling stuff. If the integrity of the game is messed with, and if it's FUBAR about, screwed up beyond repair, then everybody goes home. The studio shows go home, the vendors go home, the athletes go home, the coaches go home, the guy who sweeps the bathroom goes home. We go home. Everybody goes home. And that's why for the longest time, everyone was like, don't touch it, don't touch it, don't touch it, period. We all thought it was copacetic long enough where we didn't react to it. And we all were wondering why it was such a big deal that we never touched it. We never touched it. We found out why there's rules. We found out why that was the case, because you wanted it as far away from your product as humanly possible, because you wanted to give no idea, period, that this was in any way correlated. And here we are. And I don't know if we can stuff this toothpaste back in the tube or if this is going to be just the way it is now.
Yeah.
No, no, we're in the wild, wild west. I don't know if there's anything the NCAA is doing correctly these days.
Cash and checks.
Yeah, television money, and that's more the Big Ten benefiting more.
That's conference level, yeah. Well, and you're seeing the way that the NCAA is behaving in this deal, where I think they're trying to pick their lane of now being the gambling police. Okay, we can't really talk about benefits anymore. That's NIL's here. We can't talk about, the conferences have a lot of power with scheduling and TV, so we're not that anymore. We can worry about the gambling. And maybe this might be the appropriate lane for an organization that cares about every little bylaw and every little letter of every rule. That might be where it goes, but I don't know if it's going to get worse before it gets better, because sooner than later, it's going to be a star player. Sooner than later, it's going to be a game that people care about. And sooner than later, all of Eli's deep down fears are going to be realized, at least for one team in one game in one moment. And I don't know if we're going to be able to recover from that.
Oh, I mean, I'll just not betting on these mother bleepers.
And millions of other people.
Like, to be real, like, I'll go spend my money elsewhere. I mean, don't get me wrong, I love a good 50-cent parlay, or $1.50 or $5, whatever. I'm not going crazy units, but I just won't put it on it. I mean, it's so simple.
Drugs, you'll be fine.
Yeah, easy pal. Say no to ghost kids.
My personal, if we want to get personal for 2 seconds.
At least you know what you get with those.
Not always.
Well, that's a whole different point. That's a whole different point.
Not always. Double life back to you.
No,
we had a really weird weekend in college. Yeah, I get it.
That is a 3 a.m. show waiting to happen. Personally, I have no hate towards gambling at all whatsoever. And if anybody wants to sponsor us here at the network, that's a gamble. We're all in. But my issue, personally, like the times where I won, it wasn't enough. Like, oh, I won this bet on a fight. I should have put down $40. Only put down $10.
Yeah,
I bet on the correct horse from the Derby. What the hell? Only put down $5. I should have bet at $50. I would have won more. So it's like, it's never, you're miserable when you lose. There's more, like, sports is great because no matter what happens, when I go to bed tonight after this show, none of this matters. I still got to pay bills and stuff. But when gambling's in play, now I got to worry about my money. I got to worry about other things. So when I lose, I'm not happy. When I win, I'm still not happy because I didn't bet enough.
Well, and I think that's why we're starting to see, an angrier sports fan out there. How many more players, we hear almost a new story every week of so-and-so is getting a death threat now because they missed a shot, or so-and-so is getting a death threat and, their wives are getting, has to, go into hiding for a week because, they, had a wild pitch in a playoff game or something like it. It's because, you have that passion as a sports fan now tied to your wallet, and you have, oh crap, my team lost, and oh crap, how am I going to make rent? So that gets a little bit more intense, and you can't blame the athlete. We're all big boys, we're all adults, we know what this stuff's supposed to be about. You can get addicted to it and you can get help for it, and some personality types are a little bit more susceptible than others, but at the same time, it's a fine tightrope to walk. And Moon, you do it right. I never once have I thought you had a gambling problem. Well, I'll correct that. The only problem that you have is that you pick the wrong people most of the time.
Not always, though. Not always.
But it's
I've
not
seen
like
some
you're
moves
dumping
off parlay.
paychecks down. It's not like you're going crazy with anything like that. I never once thought that you were, nothing like that. But it's not. We're now realizing that the athletes are also, just like your normal 21-year-old kid out there who has 13 apps on their phone that they can place a bet whenever they want on anything they want. I'm sure we could probably pull up a live game right now, something, a highlight game going on.
There's
something.
there's definitely action going on right now. Yeah, I'll be real.
Oh yeah, 12:30 at night. Yeah, we still got West Coast stuff going on.
And tennis. I mean, right now I think it doesn't start till 5, but tennis usually around 1 or 2 in the morning. That shit is riveting.
Okay, I think you might have a gambling problem.
No. I'm just saying. If you've never bet on tennis at 1 or 2 in the morning and sat there and watched, that is like some of the most like sweated out type of vibe. You're ready to run through a wall. Double A, I know you go to the gym. That's like my version of going to the gym.
I like watching big time. I like a French Open final or a Wimbledon final, like when you got two of the especially Nadal and Federer and all those guys.
Yeah,
like that's kind of the closest thing you'll see in sports. Like maybe that or a combat sport of like person on person. That's all you can do.
Please, you're not betting on the Miami Open, are you?
Oh, I don't know what the names of these things are. I just know that there's tennis on at like 4 in the morning. And I see there's a plus 400 odds, and we're gonna send it 50 cents. See if we can turn this thing in.
This man is watching the Tennis Channel, placing bets. Dude, if you start this is my public service announcement for everybody. If you start to bet on preseason football, you need counseling.
Yeah, spring training baseball, you can probably lump into that too.
Immediately. Training, NFL preseason, NBA preseason, prelims, you need counseling.
You know what some of the toughest thing is? I know we got a few more stories before we get out of here. You know the toughest thing is esports. You're literally betting on somebody playing a video game. That stuff, that gets crazy. Gets crazy.
I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that. I'm just.
They can rig that. I don't know.
I'm just no. I don't even care if it's on the up and up. I'm not doing it. But no. News and notes here. Main event. Inside Edge Podcasting Network. I don't know how to transition out of that one. Another story here locally that popped. What was it on Tuesday? Or I think it was Thursday. Jimmy Haslam and the whole Browns Brain Trust were down in Brook Park, and they were doing the stadium kickoff, the groundbreaking, so on and so forth. It's supposed to open in 2029. Roger Goodell was there. Everybody had their Sunday best on. It was really a fun time. It looked like for everybody involved. One of the questions, though, that Roger Goodell got in this whole mess was, what are the chances of the Browns hosting a Super Bowl? And it makes sense where Jimmy Haslam is sitting there going, well, I can't win one of these goddamn things. I might as well buy one. And that got me thinking a couple of questions. What's going to happen sooner? The Browns hosting a Super Bowl, the Browns winning a Super Bowl, or and the other question is how do you think this fair city would handle being the center of the football world for 6 days, 7 days with everybody being here in town?
Go ahead, Double. You can go.
Okay, so to answer the question, I think the Browns winning a Super Bowl would be first, because I don't think the stadium as is. I don't think they're going to host the Super Bowl.
You don't think the new Haslam bandbox down in Brook Park is going to do it?
No, and it's not because to that point, it's not because of the stadium itself. It's because the surrounding areas don't have nearly enough hotels, nearly enough things that the NFL looks for hosting cities. I've always been a proponent for, if you're looking for a Super Bowl, always thought if you were going to move to the suburbs, you needed an area that actually had more space. You needed to move to like Streetsboro or Strongsville, somewhere that had more space and you could do more stuff around there. There's just not enough. There's not enough space in Brook Park / Berea where you could provide the necessary hotels that's necessary. I just don't think that's the case. And I think the other factor too, there's 6 or 7 other teams that's going to open up a new stadium in the next 6 or 7 years.
One thing that's going to help out the availability. Apparently, Stephen Ross in Miami said Hard Rock's not going to host any more Super Bowls in Miami because they priced themselves out of it. They're worried about FIFA. They're worried about international events more than they are maybe about the Super Bowl.
But
and that's in the rotation, like that's in their most, like every 5 years or whatever. So that's going to help some other teams out, I would think.
But I think
there's Kendrick Perkins again, looking all official.
I think they dropped out of the rotation because of the part that I just mentioned, that they no longer have
that infrastructure,
the infrastructure around the stadium that the NFL's looking for. And I think to that point, I have a hard time envisioning Cleveland landing a Super Bowl. I think they'll host other big events, but a Super Bowl would be tough. And maybe in the back of my mind too, to answer that question, maybe I feel if Shedeur Sanders comes through with this young team, maybe you could go to the Super Bowl. Whoever knows.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really disagree too much with Double-A. I will say that I think the Browns getting to the Super Bowl is just crazy to say, though. So I'll go with the opposite. I will say that the Browns host the Super Bowl because I was sure you could figure out a way to get more hotels and things like that. And the Browns are not the Browns, but the city of Cleveland has hosted the RNC before. They've hosted UFC events. They've hosted a lot of events that do bring in international crowds. Not necessarily as big as the Super Bowl per se, but I would say they could figure it out. And I think they would figure it out before.
I'm sorry, real quick, Eli. That was downtown Cleveland.
It is, but I'm sure. But they could work out a deal. Yeah, but they could work out a deal. Yeah, but they could work out a deal, Double-A. I mean, I'm sure that we're not the only city that's ever been like, hey, and you're going to have to go 10, 15 minutes away. It's not like you're going a half hour into an hour away from
Dallas
Park.
Does that where a lot of stuff happens in Fort Worth. I think Glendale, there's a little bit of a commute between a lot of the stuff. I think that's why they loved Vegas, was because they did have everything so close.
Right.
To
yeah,
so,
but
the Double-A's point, it has happened.
Yeah, so I would go with, that they would host one first and them probably not being in it. But yeah, I don't know. Jimmy Haslam, man, he's a funny guy. He's a funny guy. That's all I'll leave it at. We're worried about a stadium that, meanwhile, still doesn't know how they're getting all the funding for the stadium, and they're playing in their sandbox. They didn't even break ground. Did they officially break ground? I saw them playing a sandbox. I saw DeWine, I think, was there, and everybody. They were playing in a sandbox. Did they actually break ground?
That's going to be the closest rich people get to doing manual labor, Eli. That's the best we're going to hope for.
I mean, my goodness, bro. And they look like they've never held it shut. Well, all right, back to you guys.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, they haven't. Last time Jimmy Haslam held a shovel was when he was playing in a sandbox at the age of 3 years old.
It makes sense that they had a sandbox out there for him at his 60s, 70s. I mean, my goodness.
But
Yeah, they have a
the
sandbox.
double A's. I got a quick question here for double A. What is easier to do? Build a couple of airport Marriotts or find a quarterback?
Lower gas prices.
Yeah, you ain't getting that, buddy. Sorry.
No, that's not happening. That's not happening.
Shout out to Mike DeWine for turning down a thing that would have lowered gas prices by 40 cents. Anywho,
Hey, we're getting rid of property taxes everywhere, so we need to come up with the money somehow.
how about that?
Yeah.
How about that? Can't wait to fill up my tank this week.
Dude, filling up the lawnmower gas can was such a buzzkill, man. I think it was like 20-something bucks just to fill up for the summer. Like,
Well, question, Moon, and we'll get out of here in a couple seconds here. We'll take a quick break.
yeah.
Because I know you do the ride sharing a lot more than me and Double A. Has the prices for that gone up too?
Oh yeah. Yeah, to go to like Lakewood now, it used to be like $15. Now it's like 20, 25 bucks.
Okay, I didn't know
Yeah.
how much this was bleeding. Yeah, that's a shit.
Yeah.
Ton. Well, I mean, we're talking about a 20% hike in fuel across the board, pretty much. So yeah, it is
Dude, you
what it
better
is.
start taking the bus.
So if you want to be a ride share for Eli Moon, follow my at when he comes
Dude,
back up
Eli,
here.
you better start taking how often do you take the bus?
Oh, I haven't taken the bus in a minute. I used to take the bus a few years ago, but I
Dude,
haven't
take
taken
the bus.
Yeah, when I lived in
All-day
Cleveland,
pass
yeah,
for
I was
$5.
busting it a whole lot more than Uber.
I'm
Because
gonna get a bicycle, man.
bus was I could do a round trip from my apartment in Cleveland into downtown and back. I think that was $5.
Yeah, get the all day pass, $5.
Yeah, something's got to change. Listen here, DeWine. No, I'm not gonna go on a tangent now, but
No,
yeah.
I will lower them damn gas prices. You have the anywho.
Well, it's amazing how low the gas prices can get if you don't invade the country that controls the way the gas gets out. That's probably, again, I'm not a foreign policy whiz, but I would think that's a problem. But yeah, this is the Inside Edge Network. Before we get way too political for a sports show at 12:35 at night, we'll take a quick break here. We'll continue news and notes a little bit next segment. I got one more story I want to bring up. We talk about sanctity of the game and everything being on the up and up. The NFL isn't a problem with a crew of their employees ready to strike, and that could really, really mess with some games coming up. But we'll talk about that. We'll figure out what we've learned, and then we will ride off into the sunset and bid adieu. So, yes, this is the main event on the Inside Edge Podcasting Network. Double A Anthony Alford, Eli Moon, Rob Rozycki, and we will be back.
The Inside Edge Network is brought to you by Fanatics. Fanatics isn't just our name, it's who we are. Loyal, passionate fans, dedicated to our favorite teams and athletes to the sports we love. That's why we're honored to be able to offer fans the world's largest collection of official sports apparel and sports jerseys from all the leagues, teams, and players you love. We're talking NFL, Major League Baseball, NBA, National Hockey League, the NCAA. I'm a wrestling guy as well. We got WWE apparel available too. It allows us to serve fans of football, baseball, hockey, basketball, lacrosse, soccer, golf, and everything else that gets your heart pumping. Go to fanatics.com by using the QR code on your screen right now to celebrate your teams. It's right there in the corner of your screen. Get your official gear. Level up with us at fanatics.com.
Whether you're searching for a baseball autographed by your favorite World Series slugger, a signed football by an iconic Hall of Famer, or the jersey of a world-famous soccer star, you've come to the right place. Here at sportsmemorabilia.com, the web's leading source of authentic sports memorabilia, you'll find more than 500,000 authentic products from nearly every professional sports league, team, and player. Not only will you find your next prized sports possession with ease thanks to superb customer service and tremendous site experience, but you'll have the satisfaction and peace of mind that every product listed comes complete with a certificate of authenticity and is fully backed by the sportsmemorabilia.com lifetime authenticity guarantee.
Welcome back to the main event here on the Inside Edge Podcasting Network. I am Rob Rozycki. We got Double A Anthony Alford and Eli Moon. This is the home stretch. We're a little over time, but actually comparatively to what we've done in the past, we are still running real smooth. But yes, we have a little bit more news and notes. We'll figure out what we've learned and get the hell out of here. And we'll get you going to start your week just very shortly here. I teased it at the end of last break. Coming into this one, we are having some issues now in the NFL. And it's stuff that we're pretty used to as fans. I remember a few years ago, was it the Fail Mary, Packers and Seahawks back in the day. Replacement officials could be on their way. There is labor strife happening with the referee union and the NFL. I don't think the referees are all that big of a fan of all of the tech being used to help them out. And I think they're making it look like they're feeling like they're obsolete with that kind of stuff. But amongst other things, they have not signed a contract. And the NFL is now figuring out a contingency plan for replacement officials. The latest news on that one, they will not come from top-tier college football. It will not be the Big Ten, SEC, ACC, thank Christ, or Pac-12 or anything like that. It will be maybe lower-end college football refs and or retired refs. We talked about the gambling. We talked about the sanctity of the game, and is everything on the up and up. That last segment, I guess, was a little bit of malfeasance. This one will be incompetence. But I think a lot of the same issues are going to apply if they have to go out there with the replacement officials for this NFL season.
Yeah, it's dude, I don't understand. I don't understand anymore. They have so much money and yet they can never figure out just how to keep the game the way it should be. I mean, to get the right refs out there. I mean, how hard is it, man? But they want us to continue to invest the same amount of money. We're not going to get a discount because they're getting replacement refs. You know, there's not going to be a discount on tickets, nothing like that. But if they botch a call, we already see the press release coming. Well, okay, you know, we're working our best, you know, with the circumstances. I don't give a shit about the circumstances. I just want to see good football. I want to see referees do the best of their ability. And I don't really trust Joe Schmo, whoever, coming out of retirement 5-7 years ago to run this thing. So that's how I feel about this. It's just embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing.
I hate to do this because if they did what I'm about to say, this would take away jobs. Could they just ABS this thing?
Oh, no.
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 I don't think that's that. We talk about how fast this game is, about how like ask an official about how many things they are instructed to be looking for on every play. I think that there is just we can ABS inbounds, out of bounds. We can ABS first downs. We can ABS field goals in or out. I'm sure, but when it comes down to are you going to call that holding play on the guard? I don't know if that's a computer job yet.
I hope not. I mean, that would be. I mean, so baseball, baseball, you have the umps out there. ABS is the last resort, basically. It's your challenge resort, right? But I guess what they'll have to do.
Well, one of the big things that we want to do is kind of involve New York a little bit more, kind of make the eye in the sky a little bit more powerful, and be able to either pick up flags or throw them down and something. I think that's where a lot of people get kind of crazy is, like we see it in the NBA where nobody called a foul, but they replay it and all of a sudden there's a foul and you don't know what's going on as a fan. But I think that's kind of the crux of it, is that they want more help where you can't have a computer do it. They want more eyes on it. I think that's what
yeah. We've seen it with basketball. If you burn challenges early on, if in the first quarter, you don't get them back later on. If there's something, they're going to have to figure this out, because the other factor in this too, you don't want longer football games either. And again, it was wild and crazy just to throw out the ABS thing, but you don't want longer football games. You guys remember 10 years ago with that Hail Mary, all that situation. You guys remember how long those games were? Like, those were long football games. Like, typical 3-hour games became 3.5 hours because you had a few officials, replacement officials. They called everything. They called every holding call. They did everything in disputed calls, and then others did nothing. So I think this is they got to figure this out quickly. Pay the refs what they need to be paid and move forward, because to your guys' point, the gambling stuff is real. You don't want Eli Moon coming at your neck because of a bad call, because he will.
I've been screwed over some of the stupidest shit when it comes to gambling. I swear, bro. I don't want to see replacement refs. I don't want to see Deshaun Watson. I don't want to see replacement refs. I don't want to see Casey Concepcion dropping the football in week 2. I don't want to see a lot of things on the football field. I want to just see wins in a Super Bowl in Brook Park, maybe before Brook Park. Is that too much to ask for?
You want a game, too,
Yes.
that you want a game that's where you're not thinking about the refs.
Right, exactly.
That's the job of officiating, is for them not to be noticed.
Yeah, anytime you have like a Monday morning where the story is the officials, it's not a good deal for the NFL ever. And you're going to have a lot of Monday mornings that the officials will be the story coming out of it. Now, Double A, to your point about the length of games, one thing with the ABS that we're all tipping our caps to is I think it's 91 seconds. They figured out it's adding on to a game. So that, and plus two, each team kind of does it their own way. You have their, like, oh my God, what's it going to be? Oh, we won or we lost. So there is, you're not just kind of sitting there, diddling on your phone. There is kind of a thing you're doing in that 91 seconds. So if they can get it that quick, yeah. But that's the problem is like, and you see it happen in college football a lot where they'll talk about it for like 15 minutes. And, you got like a half an hour spanning and you only run 3 plays. So, yeah, I mean, they got to keep it quick and they got to get the real guys in there because the real guys don't hit it 100% of the time. I don't want to see what this batch would do when it's, no, we're cool.
Well, my final thought on this, Rob, before I know we're about to put a bow on this thing here in a little bit, but my final thought on this, I'll talk to Chad. I'll see what he's doing. He's talked about curling before in the Olympics and other things. I'll see what he's doing. They got replacement refs. They need replacement refs. I know a guy. He's 46. He has a terrible chicken sandwich list. We're gonna get it. See if he can get on the replacement ref, application, because I at least trust Chad. I don't know if I trust these other guys.
I don't. Not after
Wow.
this chicken sandwich analysis. I don't.
Wow.
Well, and quite honestly, it's not even a trust. Like these guys just move so damn fast.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like you can't just take a guy on. Even a decent high school ref is going to look completely, out of his element there. Like it's just like you need the people who are, and the NFL needs, and maybe one solution is to make these guys full-time employees.
Yeah.
If that were to
Yes.
happen, maybe you wouldn't be dealing with this crap nearly as much.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. You're right.
I think that's the ultimate solution. Is they don't want to do it.
And the fact that the NFL has so much money they make so much coin. The fact that they don't do that with the officials who are, faceless and nameless, but very vital to the whole operation is astounding. But this is the main event here on the Inside Edge Podcasting Network. I could have used that for what I learned about how amazed I am that they're not NFL full-time officials. But we'll do other things with what we have learned. We'll close this thing out. We got about 10 minutes left here. Do we? Who wants to go first in this one here? Showing our complete lack of planning before the segment started.
Yeah, I'll start. What I learned this weekend is, I'll just continue to voice it. I'm big on community and big in the music community. Obviously, what we're doing here with the Inside Edge Network, but I'm also big on the collective LaHela, I'm a part of the music collective and the community. I got to work a show last night. Oh, my goodness, my days are blended together. Worked a show last night over at Brothers Lounge. Great venue. Love the people over at Brothers Lounge. Had a great band out there, Wanted Alien, Melted Strawberry, and Libcore. They were performing, then they had the pop out over in the concert hall. What I will say this, there were people that came out and rocked out, but I just think we need more of a presence with we're talking about, on this show, and I love sports, don't get me wrong, but with, all the murkiness right now with gambling and all this other stuff, replacement refs, there is a music scene right now in Cleveland that is thriving and doing really, really well. There's a ton of new artists coming out from the fold, artists that are really showing love and doing something different and actually giving back, benefits, to the community, fundraisers, things like that, and just bringing, a moment of escape from, a second. And I would have liked to have seen a bigger turnout. These are some really great bands, and it was a Saturday night. So I guess my thing is, if you are looking for something to do, I'll continue to voice this. Get out to these shows, support these artists, support these bands. You may find you never know. One time, my dad's mom, so my grandmother, she went into a theater way back when. And she went in there and she said, oh my goodness, I love this guy. He was amazing. And found out it was Elvis Presley. So you just never know who you're going to step. Now, this was in Tennessee at the time. But my point stands that you never know who you're going to walk in and see. And even if they don't become the next Elvis Presley or whoever, you're going to find somebody you might rock with and be able to enjoy their music, and you have a personal connection. I think that's a beautiful thing about going to shows is you get a personal connection. You get to actually talk to the person, the band after, and find out things. So, yeah, my thing would be, we're continuing to pack out the community. Just get to these other shows, too, and I'm going to do my best to continue to promote. Every show I see, pretty much I promote and try to get it out there, even if it's not one I book. So just continue to get out to these shows and support these people. That's what I would say. Support these artists, support these bands. Because like I said, it was a great turnout. I just would love to see more people in there, especially because they came in from Mansfield. We just got so much music and talent here. And, that's what I learned this weekend. Is just get your ass to a venue and come enjoy some great music. Come on, man.
All right, I'll go next. Two things. Number one, our team at the Inside Edge Network, we had a great meeting earlier today. At the Lincoln Lizard in Bedford Heights. Want to thank our entire team for being there. Everyone I hope everyone learned something or whatever from that meeting.
The French fries are really good, AA.
They are. They were really good. They're really good. They never let down. But hey, and if they're listening,
That's right.
But my second thing, I want to learn something from Rob, because all week here at the network, for whatever ungodly reason, chicken sandwiches has been on top of mind here at this network. And, and Mr. Rozycki, since this is your weekly appearance here on the network, I need your take. First off, are you a fan of chicken sandwiches at all?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Grilled and fried.
Okay.
Amazing. Perfect. You made the cut.
I don't mean to put you on the spot. And again, to kind of narrow this a little bit, we're not talking any like fancy restaurant. We're not.
Yes, Marble Room has a wonderful fried sandwich.
Yeah, we gotta keep those out, Rozycki. You gotta keep those out.
I can't wait to have a budget one day to get one.
Yes, it'll be $900. Yes,
exactly. I'm not going to make you do a top 5 list on the spot right now because that would require some time. But do you have a number 1 go-to chicken sandwich that you personally have not made?
Well, if you want to go on sheer quantity, I've probably had more McChickens no lettuce than any other chicken sandwich known to man. That's not a bad one. I mean, it's for the people. It's a couple of bucks, $1, whatever it is now on the value menu. So I understand that. You get what you pay for. Yeah. Let's see. Popeyes does good work.
They do.
Raising Cane's also does good work. But quite honestly, if my favorite one, and I'm not gonna look good doing this, the Burger King chicken sandwich where it's like the puck of chicken. It doesn't even look like a natural chicken breast or anything, but it's just like that and the really, really fatty mayo. And I normally don't get it with lettuce, but you get lettuce on it. I used to eat those when I was a kid by just like the dozen, it seemed like. So that one, but yeah, if you want to go with like an adult one, give me Raising Cane's. It's either that one or Raising Cane's.
You guys, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. No, everybody's entitled to their own opinion. It's okay. You
asked me a question for my opinion, and you give me shit for the opinion. So
I've already said enough about chicken sandwiches. Stay tuned this Tuesday, though. Shameless plug that I will be doing my Tuesday top 5 on burgers that I've tried this week on prime time.
See, like I said, I am not qualified to. You won't hear my take on burgers because I do not eat burgers with ketchup or mustard.
Dude, it's a crazy.
Yeah, I do.
I respect it, though, but that's
no,
wild,
Rob. I pissed off. He won't mind me mentioning this. I pissed off Greg Brenda one day on like a Saturday afternoon at the station years back because I said I do not eat the stadium hot dogs with ketchup or mustard.
What do you eat on it?
You would have thought for the 2 hours we did that show, Rob and Eli, that.
I mean, in a perfect world, I'm using ketchup and mustard and actually a little onion on top of that too, to be quite honest with you. But when we're in a broadcasting scenario, if I'm taking them back to the booth, which I do a lot, like at really our, they have a full media spread of food, but I normally just pay the money to have unlimited hot dogs for 4 hours. I normally don't have anything on them. I have them dry just because there's so many blinky things that plug into walls and stuff. I don't want to know what happens if I get ketchup in a Comrex unit.
Yeah, that's true. I just don't eat it, period. Like, that's just, it's either
I do the same thing when I'm driving, too, because I don't want condiments all over that's really, and I don't mind, just a stadium dog tastes pretty good anyway, so whatever.
All I can picture, and Rob, you'll be up next. All I can picture is Greg. You don't like stadium mustard?
I feel the same. You guys are crazy. Oh my God, bro.
No, it really gives me heartburn. That's why.
Okay, fine. I'll give you that. But stadium mustard is like, there's not many things you put above that in condiment. I don't know if there's anything you put above that condiment-wise. Is stadium mustard then the rest? Like, the people that talk about ranch and all these other condiments are crazy. Crazy. Ranch on your pizza. I mean, that's crazy.
You ever had ranch on your pizza?
I have. It's disgusting. I'm cool.
Excuse me?
Ranch is disgusting.
Ranch on your pizza? Yeah, that's a normal thing.
Ranch is disgusting.
He just said ranch is disgusting, so automatically right there.
That's like the most anti-white boy stereotype ever. Like that, we're Caucasians. That's what we're supposed to be.
I hate ranch.
In every day.
I hate ranch.
That and our avocado toast.
It ruins it. And then people put ranch on salad when you have Italian dressing sitting right there. It makes no sense.
It's the only way to eat a salad.
Double, you put no ketchup or mustard on a hot dog.
Well,
don't you come at me for my.
It has no opinion whatsoever on ranch and how much ranch right now. I'm actually disappointed in you.
Oh no!
You want to know what I learned today? You're disrespecting real food. That's what I learned today. Rob, you're up next.
Okay. And I'll try to be quick here too. I know we're going to blow past the out here real quick, but And it's nothing huge, but it was something that came up today or this week. Historical anniversary, and I'm watching Macho Man's Wedding with Elizabeth from 1991 and Heel Sergeant Slaughter from the same year. And it was that same year, 1991, Ricky Henderson broke the all-time stolen base record. And that happened when I was 9 years old. Okay. I thought it was cool. I knew Ricky was great, but a lot of it didn't dawn on me until I got later in life. And what I've learned is that we as a baseball community need to talk about the greatness of Ricky Henderson a lot more. Ricky broke that record in 91. That was year 12 for Ricky. Lou Brock played 19 years. Ty Cobb played 24 years. Billy Hamilton, who's on that list, I think he played 14. Ricky broke the record that Lou Brock took damn near 20 years to achieve in 12 years. That is amazing. If you look at the averages of Ricky Henderson and the record that he has right now, we talk about Ripken's streak, we talk about Cy Young's win record, we talk about DiMaggio's hitting streak. This is a record that'll never be broken. We all celebrated Jose Ramirez a couple of days ago for getting his 300th steal. Jose averages 29 steals a year. If he wants to beat Ricky Henderson at that pace, assuming he doesn't lose a step with age, which we all know, that's a fallacy. But if he were to average 29 steals a year, he would have to play until he's 68 years old to beat that record.
Dude.
The 100 steals that Ricky had after 40 would put him in the top 30 or 40 right now of active stolen base leaders. He was winning stealing titles with 130, 101, 105, high, 100 bases plus. The leaders last year, I think, were at 39 and 29 respectively. Like, it is something that will never be seen again. He took the stolen base title in his age 39 season.
Oh, wow.
That's where he's at. And that was the kicker about Ricky, is that he took that record in year 12 and then played another 13 years. So, yeah, I mean, we're talking about a dude who debuted in 79 and he wrapped up in the early aughts. So, no problem at all. Like, and I think for my money, my favorite player growing up was Ken Griffey Jr. But the best player I've ever seen in my lifetime has to be Ricky Henderson. My favorite stat with him, and there's a lot of them, he broke up 81 no-hitters with a home run. You know how?
That's a real stat?
It's kind of a real stat.
That's crazy.
Remember, when the leadoff batter steps into the box to start the game, the pitcher does technically have a no-hitter going. 81 leadoff home runs to start a game. That and the stats with Ricky are amazing, and the stories with Ricky are amazing. Somebody in the clubhouse one day was preaching and getting all godlike and talking about John 3:16, and Ricky interrupts him. He goes, "I don't give a damn about John, or if he's hitting 3:16, Ricky hitting 3:30." There's a billion stories like that with Ricky, and I think, he's passed on. I think he's been gone for a few years now, but there was definitely an era of baseball where Ricky was probably the most dangerous weapon on a field. He had a game in 89. He went 0 for 0 with 4 walks, 4 runs, 5 steals. All you had to do was get his ass on base. By the way, he has more walks than anybody, including Barry Bonds. So, yeah, like, this is somebody I think that needs to be talked about a lot more in the all-time greats. And 35 years ago, he held that base up over his head. And do you know who he thanked first when he got the all-time stolen base record? Himself. With Lou Brock, by the way, sitting in eyesight of Ricky, in front of Lou Brock, proclaims, "I am the greatest." So yeah, it's just one of those things, and it's nothing serious. But I just saw that this week and felt a little old, and still, I think we lose a lot of these guys' greatness when it comes down to generations. Like, go back into baseball or football or basketball reference and see some of these old, stat lines and just what these guys were doing, and just how, in a lot of ways, and I'm not saying the athletes are worse. The style of the game has changed. That, we'll never see a guy win 500 games. We'll never see 400. I don't think we'll ever see 300 again. But we'll never see 1,000 steals from a player. We'll never see 100 in a season. It's just amazing. Go back and educate yourself, and it's a lot of fun. You can just kind of get lost in baseball reference and just figure out how great these guys were.
That is incredible. I'm looking at his stuff right now, and I'm gonna do my homework and watch his stuff. That's incredible. That is phenomenal. I'm actually reading his speech right now. They have it on Wikipedia as you were talking, Rob. That's a lot of cool stuff. So
and then he was fun too, because he was playing with John Olderud with the Mets, and Olderud he was the first baseman that always had the helmet on. He had a crack in his skull, and he looked at Olderud in New York and said, "Yeah, man, when I was in Toronto, there was a guy up there that did the same thing you did with the helmet on." And John had to look at him and say, "Ricky, that was 3 years ago, and it was me." He didn't realize it. He walks on the bus and sits in the front seat. Some of the veteran ball players look at him and say, "Rick, you can sit in the back of the bus. You've got tenure." And Ricky gets pissed off. He goes, "Ricky hadn't been here 10 years. He'd been here 18 years. So there's just a lot of Harold Reynolds won the stolen base title the 1 year that Ricky didn't win it in the 80s, and with 65 or something. And apparently Harold gets into his apartment at the end of the season. The phone's ringing as he walks in the door, and he picks it up, and on the other end's Henderson, and he goes, "Harold, Ricky would have had 65 by the All-Star break." Click. And that was it. But he's one of the greatest characters in the history of the game. And especially, last 50 years or so, he has to be on every top 10, top 5 list of players to ever play the game. Straight out.
I just want to mention, I know we got to send it home. We had a lot of great people watch us tonight and comment on our stuff. I got Joe Checkeye. What is going on, Joe?
Okay.
Hey, how's it going?
How you doing?
Hey, man, that's my dude, man. That's my guy, Joe Checkeye. But yeah, we've had a lot of people chiming in and stuff. And Eli, we got real quick. We got a daily lineup. We are debuting tomorrow.
It'd be today.
Correct. Yep. Unfiltered with Kyle Cornell, 5 to 6 p.m. Prime time at 10 to 11. And then midnight run 12 to 1. So if you boys, you forgive me, fellas, but a guy'd like to get some sleep, some shut-eye for just a moment. We got a busy day tomorrow, all right? Busy day. All right? That's what we got for you.
And if you want to get in touch with Anthony for us employing a Yankee fan on this network, you know where to do that on, because, again, he's just way too tall and a Yankee fan. I just don't get so we'll close that out with me throwing unnecessary shade at Kyle, who I talked to today and was completely fine with. This is the main event here on the Inside Edge Podcasting Network. We got Anthony Alford, Eli Moon. I'm Rob Rozycki. For all three of us, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Thank you for letting us take up a little bit of your day and distract you from all the crazy things happening in this real world of ours. We will be back next week. We will hopefully be talking about the Cavaliers dominating the Pistons in the playoffs. Hopefully we will not be talking about Brown's quarterback, but who knows what else will be popping up between now and then. But we'll have it right for you about this time and on Sunday nights here on the Inside Edge Net. For everybody here in studio, do we have any parting words?
No, sir.
I think we're good. Just remember again, like and subscribe at Inside Edge Net across all of our socials.
Yes, like, subscribe. You have that little alert go on your phone anytime we get on the air. It'll make things real easy for you. And yes, we'll do our best to keep you informed, entertained, and engaged with everything going on. And again, without you, we're just a bunch of assholes talking into cameras and microphones for no reason. So thank you for being with us for this episode of The Main Event. For everybody here in studio, for Moon, from Alford, I'm Rozycki. We'll see you next week, and have a great night.